Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Otts here, and it is Tuesday, and we just had a press conference live at OYO Center for Kyle Lowry's retirement. He signed his one-day contract and retired as a Raptor just now, like literally moments ago. And we saw in the crowd that Kawhi Leonard was there, which is absolutely fantastic. But you know who wasn't there? It's very interesting who was there and who wasn't there. Kawhi Leonard was there, but did you notice that Michael Grange wasn't there? So Kyle got him back. Kyle got Michael Grange back for ruining his surprise last week. And it said Michael Grange is not allowed to come to the Kyle Lowry farewell retirement conference and ask a question. All the regular Raptors reporters were there, but Michael was not invited. And that is I saw that. I could tell that. But man, it was awesome. Larry was there. Keith Pelly was there. All the regular Raptors reporters. Yeah, it was a little awkward at times, but that's natural for Kyle. Kyle likes to, Kyle has ADHD. He loses attention, and all of a sudden, he's distracted and he's looking at something else. All of a sudden, Vince Carter calling in the middle of his press conference and being on FaceTime, and he's like, "Oh shit, you're talking in the middle of the press conference." This is hilarious. It's actually pretty good. Of course, Vince told him to enjoy. Enjoy it, enjoy it, enjoy. That's what Vince is always saying these days. Enjoy, enjoy. But yeah, it's very interesting stuff. Really awesome. Good to see his son Cameron there. And of course, his other son Carter is too busy with AAU, he said. But yeah, really, really promising that Kawhi Leonard was sitting there for his press conference, and Kawhi was very into it. And this is the kind of stuff that reminds Kawhi exactly why coming back to Toronto this year is a really good decision, because you can see how we do this for Kyle like this, Kawhi. You can see what we did for Vince a couple years ago. You will get this kind of treatment if you come back correct and you do what you're supposed to do, which we know what you can do at the highest level. So, it's a great ceremony. It's so awesome to see Kyle. In some ways, it's nice to see Kyle truly back to being a Raptor. And as one of the press said, are you ready to openly cheer for the Raptors again publicly? And he's saying, yeah. Oh, yeah. And he will be cheering for us. He is a Raptors supporter, as the greatest Raptor of all time. And he's very optimistic and very pleased with the Raptors franchise and what Bobby Webster has been building here, Masai before, to have this core with Scotty and Shed and IQ and Kawhi and RJ and the rest. It is really, really nice to hear Kyle give a lot of glowing words for people like Siakam and Fred VanVleet and OG and Norm, and also Corey Joseph. And yeah, he did a lot of name mentions, and he was, funny too. He answered very candidly, but also very abrasively. And he really harassed Jennifer Quinn, which was hilarious. She got mad. She needed a moment to chill, to cleanse, as she put it. And he wanted to keep Bobby up on the podium with him, but Bobby's like, "No, man, I got to get out of here." It's so funny. And of course, he doesn't have no script or any kind of speech. He's just up there winging it. And well, Kyle's being Kyle. Man, I love Kyle Lowry so much. And I'm so happy that Bobby right off the top said, yes, we are retiring his jersey this season. And Kyle made it very clear that DeMar will be there for his jersey retirement. Also, Kyle made it very clear that DeMar is not retiring, that he has a lot more in the tank, is what he said also. So we'll have to see what happens here with DeRozan. DeRozan was not at the press conference. DeRozan was as he put it, out west still. So, but Kawhi was there. And that's interesting. This is really, and I love the little thing about his favorite charge ever in his whole career was at the All-Star game, and he took it on Kawhi. He said Kawhi still owes him money. Man, what a joyous event and a joyous piece of Raptors history that we just witnessed this morning on 7/7 in 2026. The great GOAT, number 7, Kyle Lowry, retiring from the NBA as a Raptors, putting a marker to poster board and writing his name on that big, huge contract, symbolically taking pictures with Bobby Webster, his wife and his son, And then Larry Tannenbaum, who didn't want to stand on the other side of the contract from him, wanted to run over and be hugging him during the picture. Yeah, you could tell that the relationship between the former Raptors owner, sadly, his stake is gone as of yesterday. And Kyle Lowry is very, very strong. Very, very strong. Great to see great supporters like Nat Bhatti at the press conference also. And lots, of course, the press like crazy in there. But as I said, no Grange. No Grange. Of course, it's important to get Doug Smith the first question of the media scrum, the original Raptors journalist for our team, and him being there. And I love Kyle telling him he needs to retire. And Doug said, "Yeah, you're probably right. I do need to retire." Yeah, I mean, the health scare this year. Yeah, I get it, man. I love you, Doug. I hope you continue to do your work as long as you can. Seriously, I think that this dude just needs to let him keep doing it, man, as long as he wants to. But yeah, very awesome ceremony, apropos and the right way. And the stuff for Lowry later down the road is going to be fantastic. You know, Open Gym's going to have a fantastic uh, portrayal of the event today. We'll probably get to see some of the behind the scenes stuff, like Kyle flying in, or him talking to Kawhi behind the scenes, or even the whole arrangement that they had for him behind the scenes, that the special moments that they had in the locker room commemorating him. There's all this kind of stuff that we don't get to see during the press conference, but I'm sure they'll show us later on. I love Kyle's new logo. He has a logo there. I'm guessing he's going to try and use this going forward as a Kyle Lowry brand with the K, with the Raptors logo on all the stuff for today. You know, Kawhi's got his little hand logo, and you know, different players have their logos. And well, that was Kyle's. Kyle didn't outright mention anything about Amazon Prime heavily. He really kind of mostly said he's going to be driving his kids around as an Uber and taking care of, you know, he's got to be supportive towards Carter's career coming up, because he's really getting up there and he's good, man. I've been watching Carter Lowry, and he's good. He's going to be somebody that we're going to be watching play at some level. I'm telling you, I have a feeling he'll be in the NBA. We'll just have to see how it goes. But AAU is part of a career right there. And Kyle, you know, it's good to take this time off. I mean, this is similar to what Thad Young did. Thad Young retiring just in time to kind of be in charge and help Thad Young Jr. with his career more intensely and being more on site and around more often. So it makes sense. So I believe that's probably, other than the golf, the main priority is helping Carter Lowry get his basketball career done right and professionally, and being there as dad going forward right now, because that's what it really sounded like. He didn't really talk a whole lot about broadcasting. You know, he does have he does have some work he's got to do for Amazon for sure. But who knows? Who knows? And he's going to be back, obviously. I hope we see him at multiple Raptor games this season, supporting our team, and while we go for our second Larry O'Brien championship with Kawhi Leonard back in the fold. Yeah, amazing stuff. Of course, I've got to do a reaction stream today to this team right here, because wow, Team Canada in Hamilton last night beating Jamaica bad, 38-point win over Jamaica. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the boys. I got to see them up close in real life, and man, it was awesome. I first want to say, before I start talking about my live reaction to the Canada Jamaica game last night, which I went to and was in attendance in last night, I want to give a huge shout out to the staff of TD Coliseum. They're very, very considerate, nice people. And you know, we had a couple of issues at the arena, and they were really, really helpful in helping out with those issues in a major, major way. And so I just want to take the time to say that the people that work at TD Coliseum are awesome. And it's a beautiful new facility. They just opened it last November. It's right deep in the heart of downtown Hamilton. And it's a very state-of-the-art, nice building. But yeah, we got to watch the game. We were sitting down in the 100s, just behind the Jamaican bench with the Jamaican fan section, which was boisterous and fun. And, you know, the whole thing about Canada versus Jamaica, as somebody put it on the microphone at the beginning of the game, this is a matchup of the two best countries in the world. And in some ways, I won't disagree to a degree. I mean, there's a lot of good countries out there, but yeah, Jamaica's an awesome country, and so is Canada. And so, we were just ready for some great basketball. Of course, I went with Adriana and Naco the Nacho. I appreciate getting to spend time with both of them and watching the game and see Team Canada in person. I never seen SGA play live in person until last night. I'd never seen Team Canada play live in person until last night. And I'd not been to a FIBA game since the 96 Olympics in Atlanta when I watched China play Lithuania way long time ago in like 96. So what is that, 30 years ago? So it was very cool. And these opportunities to see Team Canada on home soil and that caliber of that team, Dylan Brooks, Nebhard, all them is just a real gift and a special. And I think that Hamilton, you did a great job. They had a huge section of the upper bowl closed off and not available for seating, but they apparently the attendance for both the games on Friday and last night were around 11,000 people for both games. And the lower bowl was pretty much full at the game last night. So my worries last week about whether we were supporting Canada correctly or not in these exhibition games, well, we did. We came, we saw, and we were loud. And the lineups outside the arena before the game really showed it. People lined up all the way down the street to get into the arena for the game. So yeah, it was a fantastic experience. Of course, the game was not close. It was a battle where right off the bat, Canada came out there and a barrage of three-pointers and layups from steals and turnovers off of Jamaica really let them get the lead right away and kind of be doubled up on them for a little while in the first half and then win by 38 points by the end. I'd actually taken a bet with Gerald and Adriana about whether the score would be what the size of the score, the lead would be for Canada by the end of the game. And they thought, oh, they'll win around 20. I said, they're going to win by 30 at least, if not almost 40. And that's 38. That's what they won by. But yeah, it was a really, really fun game. I'm going to do a reaction to it. I got stars. Well, not stars. I'm just going to go over the box score. We got the Raptors Redditor of the day. We got the Tempo Redditor of the day. We got some birthdays to do today. And of course, we should react and talk about this Kyle Lowry press conference that happened this morning. And anything you guys want to say about observations from that. Obviously, the chat is open, and this is a two-way street where I'm on the mic and you are in the chat, and we will communicate and we will talk about Team Canada basketball, Raptors basketball, Tempo basketball, and Canada basketball in Canada in general. That's what we're talking about. We'll go over CBL stuff too today. So, all right, let's start with Trevor J's words of wisdom this morning. It's a great way to start our chat every day. Basically saying positive thoughts open doors, negative thoughts build walls. Every day you hold the key. Choose what you help to grow. Yep. Perception is reality. And if you want to have a negative life, think negative all the time. If you want to have a more positive life, try and see the sunny side on things, the silver lining, the positive in the situation, no matter what the situation is. That is the key right there. This is a very good, strong life skill to live your most happy life. That's it right there. Blessings to the Jones family, all the Rap Freak families. Thank you, Trevor, for being here today. Trevor's saying tonight is the WNBA All-Star Reserves announcement on ESPN, 7:30 p.m. All right. Well, Marina better be involved in the 7:30 p.m. announcement tonight for the WNBA All-Stars. Yeah, I think that, once again, it would be a severe travesty if one of the most star-studded players in the league right now, Marina Mabrey, who just tied the all-time high for points in a WNBA game of 53, somebody whose moonshots and wild style of playing basketball is very entertaining and makes people want to come to games. So I would say, yes, she's an all-star. She is a star. She is a draw. She is somebody people come to see play. She is drama. She is drama, either crashing out or making shots. And that's an all-star. I'm sorry. So WNBA, don't fumble this one. I know that, she's going to get a lot of regards from coaches. I'm sure that her peers and the players also will give her a lot of regards. I just hope the fans would catch up and give her regards also. I think a lot of fans around the league do like Marina in general because they do find her entertaining. So, if Sykes wasn't hurt right now, she'd probably have a good chance to be included on this list also, but it's not likely. So it's very, very likely that tonight we're going to have our first ever historic Toronto Tempo All-Star, and that will be Marina Mabry of Notre Dame. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's going to be lots of celebrations today. We'll start the morning with celebrating a Groat, and we'll end the day celebrating Chef Mabry. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it, Canada. That's right. Trevor's saying Canada's men's basketball team is too powerful for lots of teams to handle. They're a problem. This is an understatement. Seeing them up close and watching them in real time, in real life with my own two eyes, I just see how long they are and how aggressive they are. And they really do play a style of defense that's becoming a lot more common around basketball in general. The Raptors epitomize it, especially this year coming up with Kawhi Leonard and Allen Graves added to the thieves' den of stealing the ball and just being a shit disturber. A lot of the offense for Canada last night off of Jamaica was derived from getting that hand in that cookie jar, getting the ball deflected and loose and running the other way and making a layup. There was a lot of that last night. I have to give a lot of credit to Team Jamaica in this battle. They were overmatched, but they played very proudly, and they had some very, very powerful moments. They were hitting their threes. They played with a certain poise and confidence, regardless of the score and regardless of the mismatch, that they played it with a lot of pride during the game. So kudos to Team Jamaica and their pride and the way they held excellence and played hard, even being completely overmatched. Yeah, it was a fun game. We saw former Raptors 905 Romero Gill is on their team as far as like their big 7'2" center, but he didn't start and play. But they had some very good 3-point shooters in their game yesterday for them. In fact, there was a 4 for 8 for number 3 Thelwell, and 3 for 8 for Marcus McDonald, and then the guy Chase Adige, 4 for 12 off the bench. They were barraging us with threes. That was probably their best weapon in this game last night. There was chippiness. Dylan did his thing. I mean, I got to see some really cool things in person yesterday. I got to see amazing alley-oops between Team Canada. I got to see SGA have this one little stretch where he hit a three. He had an amazing dunk and all right in a row. And we also got to see Dylan Brooks troll and crash out the other team and get a double technical at some point and almost get in a fight. Kem Birch also getting a little scuffly there for a second last night also in the game. I was sad to see that Charles Bediako was not available for this game, but it could very well be that they're trying different guys out at this stage of the qualifiers in the cycle, and they're just kind of looking at different looks because I think Kem didn't really play in the last game, and Charles did, but Charles didn't play in this one. But yeah, let's go look at the box score a little bit real quick, and I'll go over the Team Canada guys real fast. Talked about them, the Jamaican team just now. First of all, the leading scorer was Dylan Brooks with 20 points. He was 8 of 12 shooting. He had 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover, and 3 steals. He was very aggressive, and it's fun to watch him in person. He's talking to everybody. He's holding people's hands. There was one point where he pissed off the Jamaican guy, and the Jamaican guy grabbed his hand. He was so angry at him and shook it around. And then at the beginning of the third quarter, I believe, Dylan walked over to the Jamaican bench, and we're sitting right behind the Jamaican bench, so we could see him do this. And he just like stared them all down and said some crazy shit to them. This guy who was sitting behind me, I told him about the channel. Hopefully he comes and watches it this morning. Was a huge Dylan fan, and he was loving every single troll, every single little thing he was doing, whether it was a swipe and a steal of the ball, whether it was him making baskets. Yeah, he was a huge Dylan fan, and we were talking about Dylan on the Raptors and what a dream that would be. But yeah, Dylan Brooks, leading scorer for Canada, 20 points in 18 minutes yesterday. That's fantastic. Also, Andrew Nebhard, 21 minutes, 17 points on 8 of 12 shooting. Very measured shooter, very measured, so professional, so fundamentally sound, and just such a dead eye. When Nebhard shoots, I'm thinking it's going in. Yeah, he was 7 for 9 from 2 and 1 for 3 from 3. 4 rebounds, 4 assists for young Andrew. Yeah, good game. SGA, 16 points in 20 minutes, 6 of 10 from the field. We expect this from the two-time MVP. And I'll tell you, man, he is silky smooth in person. Silky smooth. And I'm telling y'all, all the people that talk trash about SGA this past season, foul merchant, foul baiting, all that bullshit, it is such horse crap. This man is such a good basketball player. And honestly, maybe that's part of gaming the system of the NBA rules with the refs there. But he is. I think he's very, very ethical. In some ways, he's such Jordan-like player with his measuredness and just how fundamentally good he is. Nebhard is like him. They're both similar in that way. But SGA, fantastic. I really feel pleased, and honored that I got to see the two-time MVP in the Canada jersey yesterday in real life on the court against Jamaica. I feel honored. I feel honored that I was able to see SGA play. In some ways, it's like somebody going to see Michael Jordan and saying, I feel honored to see Michael Jordan play. This is like this. I feel honored that I got to see Kobe Bryant play. I feel honored that I got to see LeBron James play. I feel honored I got to see SGA play in a Team Canada jersey yesterday and beating Jamaica. That's right. He also had 4 rebounds, 5 assists, and some of those assists were nice. We saw an Alexander Cousins assist alley-oop. We saw him throw it off the backboard for Leonard Miller, which he didn't totally cleanly get it. He could have had a straight-up alley-oop, but he had to catch it and kind of handle it and then put it in. But yeah, Shai Gilgeous is there's no hype there. And I think that a lot of people that are saying that he's overrated and he's this and he's that are absolutely missing the point about what Gilgeous-Alexander is and how important and crazy good he is. Seriously. Seeing him in real life made me realize that. Seriously. We got 12 points for Nikhil in 19 minutes on 4-8 shooting. That's the theme here. All these guys shot over 50%. The team as a whole shot 58% from the field. They just didn't miss. They're just like that. Yeah, Nikhil with 12 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 turnovers, and 4 steals. He was definitely in there stealing it with his cousin. They had 8 steals between the two of them, So it was awesome. Leonard Miller with 12 points off the bench, 6 of 7 from the field, and he had 1 rebound and 1 assist and 2 blocks and a steal also. Very, very good stuff there. And then 13 for Kyle Whitler, 13 points, 6 of 8 shooting with 5 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 turnover. Yeah. So, yeah, those are the main scores from the night last night. It was a pleasure also to see Keyshawn George, 10 points, but he shot 3 for 12, a little bit off. The one thing I'll say about George is he's a lot bigger than I thought he was. Like, seeing him in person, he's not that much shorter than Kem Birch. He's a very big guy. In fact, he really looks like Scotty's size. Keyshawn George, Maple Scotty. That's what I've been calling him. He's Maple Scotty. And he really is a promising young piece in the Team Canada picture for the future, the Swiss Canadian. That's right. Yeah, Keyshawn was, I like seeing him in person. Common Gelly was pretty good too. He was a force inside with rebounds and just playing a lot with a lot of the physicality that Team Canada needed. But yeah, 116-78 was the final score. And it was just a joy and a privilege to get to see this. I was telling Gerald on the way back to Mississauga to drop him off that I now have the Thanos stones of watching basketball in Canada. I have the 5 stones. I have the Raptor stone. I have the Tempo stone. I have the Team Canada stone. I've got my Scarborough Shooting Stars stone. And I'll go back and say, I've got Raptors 905 stone. And then I've also got Raptors playoff stone. So I got the Thanos stones now. I've collected them as of going to Canada versus Jamaica last night. Yeah, if you were there at the game yourself, please write in the comments about your experience, and we'll riff and talk about it more. But yeah, a little bit of reaction to Team Canada's victory over Jamaica. They are perfect in the qualifiers so far, and they have a point differential in their games overall. I think in 6 games, they outscored their 6 opponents by 147 points, y'all. I know. It's crazy. We're coming for you, USA. Seriously. Meanwhile, y'all are over there just barely beating Dominican and Mexico by 1 point in both games. Yeah, we're coming for you, USA. You go ahead and not keep the same contingency from cycle to cycle and program to program. Bring new teams in every time and see if that gelling and that connection is the same as Team Canada, who has guys who are committed through the whole window and are playing together for years, just like the European teams. This is where we're going to beat USA. This is it, because we're in between. We're the hybrid. We have talent that's the closest to Team USA. We don't have as good a talent, but we have closer than anybody else. And we're going to use the style of the European teams use with continuity and keeping the same guys together so that they build time together and trust and familiarity. And that is going to be the thing that beats y'all, USA, when we come and get the gold at LA. Yeah. And you know what? We're going to get it. Seriously, it's going to happen because Coach Herbert ain't messing around, and neither is SGA. Neither is SGA. I'm telling you right now, it's coming. That's right. Trevor J saying this ball game must watch with Scotty IQ, Mobo, and Klay Thompson. IQ looking very powerful. So there's some runs that are available on YouTube. You can watch. It's not Rico runs. It's just runs where guys have been practicing and running together. And we've seen footage of Scotty with Chris Boucher, but also Scotty with IQ and Mobo. Yeah, this is cool. I'm going to have to watch it. I haven't seen this footage yet, Trevor. But if you can post it in the Discord, you probably already have. I'll catch up on it today because, yesterday was all driving. I mean, I drove a lot yesterday. I had to drive from where I live out here in the near Newmarket to get Adriana in Scarborough, to get Gerald in Mississauga, and then go to Hamilton. And then the game was over at 9 last night. I had to drop Gerald off, drop Adriana off, and then get home around midnight last night. So I pretty much was driving all day yesterday. Probably about 6 hours of driving yesterday with traffic and everything like that. But yeah, we got there. We got there on time. And man, it was such a joy to see my good friend Naco the Nacho. I had not seen him since Monique's birthday a couple of years ago. And just really cool to see Gerald again and catch up with him and check out his apartment in Mississauga and how he's doing and stuff like that. It's been a long time. Monique is here. The super fan Monique Lawrence is here. I love to see you, Mo, here on such a special, glorious, fantastic celebration day of Kyle Lowry. Happy Kyle Lowry Day. That's right. And it's Masai's birthday to boot, guys. Happy birthday to Masai Ujiri. That's right. Masai is, as of today, I believe he is 56. So happy 56th birthday to Masai. And Kyle has retired on your birthday, Masai Ujiri. Of course, Masai was not at the retirement ceremony, but Kyle brought him up and did talk about him in his speech. And, well, of course, Masai's very busy running the Mavericks right now and getting things organized, starting things over there post Nico Harrison and Jason Kidd era of Dallas going on down there. That's right. Happy Kyle Lowry Day. This is a fantastic day. I know Superfan Mo is smiling ear to ear to see the glorious sight of our GROAT back in Toronto. And, well, he's retiring a Raptor, forever Raptor from now on. That's right. Forever a Raptor from now on. That's right. Good morning, Raptor Free Crew. Good morning to you, Monique. I hope you're having a fantastic morning so far, and you're just doing so, so awesome. Yeah, Seymour saying this. Okay, Raptors on YouTube are doing Kyle right now, live. See y'all after. Yeah, I'm not going to compete with that, Sheriff. I'd be a fool to try and compete with Kyle Lowry retirement ceremony. And to be honest, as a big, huge Raptors fan myself, I've got to watch it myself too. And I knew that it wouldn't be super long. And I knew that I could jump on live immediately afterwards, shortly afterwards, and it wouldn't be a big deal. I apologize for the delay. 9:30 is my normal start time, but that's when they wanted to do this press conference this morning. And I'm not trying to compete with that. No, I'm not. But yeah, what y'all think of the press conference? If you watched it yourselves, love to hear what y'all are thinking. I love that Grange wasn't there. It's funny. Yeah. Yeah. Most saying Kyle Lowry video. How do you not get emotional? I know. It's impossible. I mean, I had the tissues ready. They had the whole opening little short, very, very short little video montage of stuff. And that right there just got me, yeah, this is the dude, man. This is the dude. And I love what Kyle said. about why it worked so well in Toronto. It's in some ways he acknowledged it's a hockey town. And people here in Toronto really value hard work and guys who work hard no matter what. And as he put it, people in Toronto have to go to work in the winter, whether it's cold or not, and they just go. And that's part of the mentality that fed him in his career. And that's part of why we identified with him and why we love him so much. So yeah, Lowry's ceremony was awesome. And when I saw Kawhi was there, I was like, okay, this shit is real. And thank God Kawhi was there. It's a good sign. You know, we've been talking about, well, when is Kawhi going to appear around the Raptors? And well, it was this morning at Kyle Lowry's press conference. He's sitting right there. He's probably going from the office back into the office afterwards to keep hammering out the terms of the deal and figuring it out and getting it done. That's right. How do you not get emotional? That's right, Mo. How do you not? All right, Fiercey's here. So we're going to do something special really quick here. Good morning, fam, and salute to our growth. That's right. Well, we're going to salute you right now, Fiercey, because here it is, the official plate for the trophy 2026 Fiercey Salsera is going to be on our big trophy right here. This is the Raptor Freak Trivia Championship trophy. As we can see from the years before, we have 2022 G, 2023 David Saborin, 2024 Amit Gaming, and 2025 Smooth Brown Man. We are adding Fiercey. She will go in there underneath David for 2026. I'm going to take the adhesive off of the piece for going on the trophy right here. And we are going to add her to officially the Raptor Freak Trivia Champions trophy. This is a long time coming. You know, MJ has been a fierce competitor in our trivia league for all the time I've been doing it. And she's come close in other years to getting the championship. And well, this was her year this year. And I'm so happy to see her get it. So I'm going to go ahead and affix it to here while we're on the air. So bear with me. I want to get it straight. And we will put this up in the corner again with the new name on it for this year. If you like this and you want to get your name on here, you can. Next year, 2027, there'll be another one going right there. And you want your name on it? There you go. Y'all congratulate Fiercey on her accomplishment. Raptor Freak Trivia Champion 2026. David, thank you once again for the trophy. It's gone to good use, as you can see, as your name is also still on there also. So yeah, look at that. Hey, yay! We're holding it for Fiercey. Yay! Look at this. This is a substantial trophy too, man. This is like a 3-foot trophy. So yeah, we'll put it back in its place in the corner. And there you go, Fiercey. It's official. That's the official ceremony, putting Fiercey Salsera on the Raptor Freak Trivia Championship. Wow, what a celebration day. We're celebrating Canada, we're celebrating KLOW, and we're celebrating MJ. That's right. Let's go. Let's go. One of the greatest days in Raptor Freak channel history. That's right. Let's go. Trevor J saying this, Kawhi in the building for Kyle's retirement announcement. I didn't expect that, honestly. And when they showed him at first, I was like, oh, woo! It really kind of makes Raptors fans start to think, yeah, this is getting even more real. This shit is happening. Yeah, he ain't sitting in OVO on his own time doing nothing, just sitting there for no reason. And it was nice that Kyle was like, man, I really appreciate Y being here. It means a lot. What other player was there? Nobody was there for Kyle Lowry's retirement announcement other than Kawhi Leonard. That is special. That is special. I would have put my money on DeMar. I would have put my money maybe on Scotty Barnes or somebody like that, a current Raptor. Maybe Fred VanVleet's rolling in and sitting there and watching things. I don't know. Even Vince, he could have been there. He was kind of Vince Carter. But yeah, Kawhi Leonard was there. And well, that's the perfect person to be sitting there among those media types and sitting right there. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, Neil's here. Good morning to Neil. Good morning, Blackhawk. And thank you guys for supporting the channel. Trevor, Fiercey, and Blackhawk, thank you so much. Let's see. The Kyle Lowry press conference was the best. Glad to see his wife and son. It's always family first. What you do, baby? What it do, baby? Kawhi in the house. Yeah. Yeah, it's fun to see Kyle and his wife kind of negotiate who should have Cameron in front of them in the picture for balance. And Kyle's wife was right. Let him stand in front of me and you stand by yourself over on the other side. But yeah, that's a beautiful marriage, 2 sons, and just what a great, glorious, blessed life the Lowry family has, built on the hard work of the father, the dad, built on the hard work of Kyle. He would not answer the question about what his statue should be. He wants us to debate it. He wants us to debate it. You know, a long time ago, I saw this argument or this discussion starting to form. The whole idea of the greatest Raptor of all time. Vince Carter has a good case for it in some ways. Kawhi Leonard even could have a good case for it. But I made a very strong campaign early on, and this is right in the early stages of this channel, and maybe even before that in grassroots ways, talking to people, where I was very adamant. There's no other choice in who the greatest Raptor of all time is. In fact, I went as far as building a rating system that had points for different categories and aspects of a career in a Raptors uniform that I used to scientifically prove that Kyle Lowry is the greatest Raptor of all time. And it had things like longevity, loyalty, accomplishments. There was all kinds of different aspects that were in the categories on there. And I had scores for all Raptors that played for us. I mean, I have that spreadsheet still somewhere. It's the GROAT ratings. And I would very adamantly say there's no debate. Kyle Lowry is the greatest Raptor of all time. And when Bobby Webster took the podium this morning and he announced it that way, it made me proud because, this is something. Perception wars are out there. And you could easily have people out there saying, nah, Kyle's not the greatest Raptor. It's Vince Carter. Nah, man, Kyle's not the greatest Raptor. It's Kawhi. Kawhi got the finals MVP and the championship for us. No, but Kyle was there too. Come on now. So I wanted to make this just very concrete. So, and I appreciate everybody who agreed with me and went rolling with this because it is the mainline standard belief of Raptors Nation that the greatest Raptor of all time is Kyle Lowry. But the GROAT can change over time. Just like Steve Nash was the greatest Canadian player in the history of Canada. Well, that's changed at this point. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is now. And, well, there's opportunities for people in the future to possibly take that mantle from Kyle. But for now, Kyle Lowry will be the GROAT. If Kawhi wins another championship and another finals MVP and he plays more years with us, that may be a very tough thing to try and argue against. Scotty Barnes does certain things in his career. He could very easily possibly be the greatest Raptor of all time at some point. But for now, it's still Kyle. And I will not adjust the greatest Raptor of all time ratings until to say something different until that happens. Somebody else takes it from him. But I don't see it. I don't see it for a while. We'll see. Hey, if we win the championship this year with Scotty and Kawhi, they'll have a good, strong case in some ways to move up that GROAT rankings for sure. Yeah, it's a great press conference. Great for Raptors fans. Anybody who truly loves this team that are real fans and not casuals, they really, really got a lot out of what we saw this morning. That's right. Mo's saying this. Absolutely, absolutely loved the press conference. Look at that, Mo. You should have been there. Honestly, you're somebody who should have been in the house. You love that Vince Carter part. Yeah, it's hilarious. Vince didn't know he was in the middle of it all. In some ways, it's like you don't want to call somebody FaceTime and then you're like, oh crap. Wait, there's a room full of people listening in on us. And wait, no, not only that, you're on YouTube, Vince. It's so funny. Vince is like, we're going golfing, and Kyle's like, tonight I'm coming. Vince is like, no, we're going golfing in 2 days. He's like, no, I'm coming tonight. We're gonna go tonight. Dude wants to golf, man. It's crazy, man. Yeah. Cool Cat's here. Good morning to the coach, Cool Cat. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. What a lovely one-day contract press conference for Kyle Lowry. I think it went pretty good. I think the Raptors always do a good job of making a big deal out of things and doing it right. I mean, Vince got that feeling when we retired his jersey. Man, the plane and all the things we rolled out for him, all the jerseys all over the city, so much stuff we did to honor Vince and make him feel really special. Well, we need to do every single thing we did for Vince, but for Kyle, and probably even a few more is what I'm saying. Kyle did say that he would love to have a basketball statue next to all the hockey statues outside in Jurassic Park. And yeah, I think we'd all like to see that. I think we'd all like to see that. Yeah, fantastic to see you, Cool Cat. I hope that you're in great spirits and things are just awesome. I can tell you're celebrating. So you must be feeling real good right now. That's right. Fiercely saying, "Oh my God, that was amazing. Love it." Yeah, Kawhi was there and we saw him at the end. Yeah. Yeah. I'm so happy Kawhi was there. In some ways, look, he knows what he's walking into this time. Maybe he showed up late the last time because he didn't want to show up until the last minute, but he knows what he's walking into this time. And you know what? This is really a good sign. Seeing Leonard there, and he was very into like the whole thing. And that's the thing, Kawhi. You will get this kind of adoration from us. You know, in some ways, the time that you spent with LA was not successful. It really, really wasn't. But you have been successful here. So it makes sense that you would want to pivot and chain your legacy to our franchise instead after the failures of being in Los Angeles. You know, Kyle did throw that dig in there. I don't know if you caught it. He did say the word aspiration when he's talking about Kawhi. And in some ways, that is not cool, Kyle. Why'd you do that? Freudian slip. In some ways, that word should probably be banned from the presence of Kawhi Leonard going forward. No more using the word aspiration. Okay. That was kind of funny when Kyle said that. In some ways, he might have had foot in his mouth after he first said, "Oh, did I say that? Did he mean to say that?" I mean, he had no notes, right? He was just going off the cuff, but that's not the right word. That's not the right word when you're talking about things around Leonard. That's not the right word at this point. No, that's not the right word. That's right. Monique saying it's only 2 years for Kawhi. Thank God. Then get the fuck out of here, per Michael Grange. You know what, Monique? You got to stop. I'm giving you a strike. I'm never, ever giving you a strike, and I'm going to give you a strike. You need to respect Leonard. He is our finals MVP. We do not have a championship in 2019 without him, and you are forgetting that. So don't bite the hand that feeds you. And once again, respect Kawhi. Seriously, he's not Vince. You can have all this animosity in the world towards Vince Carter, but not Kawhi Leonard. Once again, he's wearing our jersey this year, and you are counterproductive towards our team and our energy when you have this much hate towards him. Seriously. Now, Grange can't be there at the press conference, so he's going to drop it this way. Is that what's going on right here? He's going to drop it this way. He's going to try and be involved in stuff in some sort of way. All right, here we go. Let's see. Let me do this real quick. Actually, there's breaking news. The Tempo are announcing right here, forever Toronto legends continue to make an impact on city's basketball. NBA champion Kyle Lowry and entrepreneur and philanthropist Ayanna Cornish Lowry, his wife, have joined the Tempo ownership group, further strengthening this organization's commitment to growing women's basketball. He's been a part of the ownership group already, but I guess now he can be more outward with it publicly since he's not with the Sixers anymore, and he's now officially retired as a Raptor. So I'm expecting to see Kyle at Tempo games very shortly and being involved, him and his wife as owners of the Tempo team. And that's awesome, man. So, yeah. They're saying welcome, but he was already been doing this, right? He's been already doing this, yeah. So pretty awesome. Let's see. Where is the Grange news? Why am I not seeing Grange anymore? Did I stop following Grange because he pissed me off? That could very well be what happened. Let me see. Is this Grange? I can't even tell. That is not the right Grange. Is he banned from Blue Skies, or is he not using it anymore? I don't know. Michael Grange, you're a weird guy. Let me see. Is that Grange? Is that Grange? Yeah, this is Grange. Okay. Why? I am not following him. It's because I hate him. That's probably why. Just like Lowry. I hate him. He's pissed because he couldn't be at the press conference, so he wants to break some sort of news. So this is what he's doing. Let's see. Where is it? Where is that news? I don't see it. It's not on Grange. Monique, don't be reporting false news. I believe the years are 3 years, honestly, because this is the thing you don't understand, Mo. He's got a contract year this year that's already from the Clippers. And the 2-year extension on top of it is 2 years after that. So it's technically 3 years. And stop saying stuff like get the fuck out after that. That's disrespectful. That's disrespectful, Monique. You get a strike. Seriously, don't do that shit. Seriously. Fiercely saying this, when asked what statue he would like to immortalize him, I wrote taking a charge in the stream. Of course. That's probably likely. I'd say the top 2 options are him. It doesn't look good if he's taking a charge. In some ways, it's hard to portray that in a statue. The statue that I think he should maybe have is the one on the bus with the Damon Stoudemire jersey on, holding the championship with the glasses and the hat. That statue is a pretty top-notch selection also. But taking the charge in action kind of statue does make sense. It does make sense. Let's see. Kyle was holding back tears. I don't think he was. He's not like that. He did not hold back tears, man. He's just a serious dude and just kind of like sitting there and he's just, I'm retiring. Okay. That's it. I'm done. That's it. I don't think he was. We all were ourselves, though. That's for sure. We were for sure. Stargate's here. Good morning to Stargate. Good little press conference still. Good to see Kawhi there. Everybody is accustomed to Kyle and his press conference shenanigans, so nobody was really phased. I seem like Jennifer Quinn was a little phased, but she hadn't dealt with Kyle in a long time, so maybe she just wasn't in good practice for dealing with the curveballs and the changes. There's stuff going on in the room, and Kyle has attention deficit disorder. You could get distracted. They're trying to ask him a question. Ryan Wolstadt and Vince Carter's calling in. There's somebody walking behind him. He's like, what's this guy doing behind here? It's like, oh, he's trying to get his son to come up and sit on the stage with him. And Cameron's like, no way, Dad. I'm not getting up there. He's like all over the place. But yeah, he was very, very honest and true and not prepared. And that's fine because he's an intelligent guy that can speak for himself in the moment and just speak from the heart and be honest. And that's the things. That's part of the reason why we love him so much. That's part of the reason why we love him so much. Yeah, happy tears. Yeah, I didn't see Kyle starting to cry. Kyle wasn't trying to cry or anything. He's a man. He didn't need to cry. It's a happy moment and stuff like that. He's probably had his emotional moments. He may have had a tear when we were so loving towards him in that final game with the Sixers when they came this season. That kind of stuff will get him emotional. When the power of the fans showing love towards him, that'll do it. But this is just a press conference with a bunch of media jabronis and his beloved people in his life, like his friends, his family, Larry Tenenbaum, and people like that. And then also the vultures, Keith Pelly and some shit-faced looking guy looking like shit was sitting underneath his nose like he was a piece of crap. Yeah, these owners that are so ornery and stupid. Like I think that was Ed Rogers, like left-hand man or right-hand man or something like that, sitting with Pelly. And man, he looked like he was having the worst time. The little bit they showed Pelly and that dude who works with Rogers, he looked like he was just a curmudgeon. Like what an asshole! Like, dude, you know what they say to women? Why don't you smile more? Why don't you smile more, rich asshole? How about motherfucker sitting next to Keith Pelly? Why don't you smile more, bro? Why don't you smile more, like Larry Tannenbaum? That's right, like Larry. That's right. All right, let's see. Trevor's got breaking news. Donovan Mitchell has agreed to a 4-year extension contract with Cleveland. This is interesting because a lot of the narratives in years past was he didn't want to be in Cleveland and he was just biding his time to try and jump on with New York. But I think New York's now won the championship and they're kind of full up, and the Donovan to New York never really happened. But Cleveland did something okay this year in the playoffs, and I guess Donovan is encouraged by it, and he feels like it's going in the right direction. So Mitchell is re-upping with Cleveland and making more of a commitment to them. And maybe he understands maybe somebody's coming home, the guy from Akron. Maybe he understands that. We'll have to see. Neil's saying this, 3 years for Kawhi. All good for Kawhi mentoring Scotty. By the way, Kawhi leaving got us Scotty, and now he's here to pass the torch. That's right. I'm totally behind Kawhi. I'm a Kawhi stan, and this may be where Monique and I are not going to get along soon. I'm going to caution you right now, Monique. Listen, it could go two ways, and we'll say if you really want to be on the op side, I'll say this. If Kawhi is not coming through, he's hurt, and he's not able to do this, God forbid this, because we do not want this, because it's not good for Raptors Nation or Raptors team, you'll be right. And I'll say, okay, but you're going to get, you know what? You'll be right, but it'll be misery and the bad outcome. If you want that side and you want to stand on that side, Monique, I'll let you do that. I'm going to stand on the other side, that I want him to absolutely be as healthy, as perfect as possible, that he can play at this top level to the highest, and we win the next one of those. That's where I'm looking. That's where I want to go. And this some ways has to do with what Trevor J talks about. Let's look for the positive. Let's look to the positive. You want to look at the negative. You want to diss Kawhi. You want to say, get the fuck out of here. You want to disrespect the finals MVP, the man who's probably the main reason, the number one reason why we got that the first time. That's just bad energy, Monique. And you got to get your head out of your ass on this one. Seriously. Because when he starts winning games for us this season, when he starts showing Kawhi is still Kawhi, you're going to fall in line. You're going to be like, I love Kawhi again. I'm going to say that right now. You're going to have to change your mind on this. It'd be different if Vince came back. If Vince had came back late in his career and played for the Raptors again, I would have forgave him. And I would have been like, he's on my team. I have to root for him, even though he pissed me off and I've hated him for almost 2 decades. I have to root for him now because he's putting our jersey on. That's the rules, Monique. And if you can't figure this out and do this in your heart, then what are you doing? You're against what we want to do successfully for this team. You have to think about this logically and really understand. Don't work against us winning, Mo. Don't be a bad energy towards us just because you're pissed off at Kawhi for yourself. Because in some ways, that's yourself that's mad at him. You know, he's going to do great things for us again, and we're going to win another championship. And I hope you can forgive him by then. Seriously. I hope you can forgive him by then. That's right. That's what I'm going to say right there. Neil's saying, love Larry Tannenbaum. Just a classy guy. Man, that's the kind of owner you want for your team. And it's too bad he's out. It's too bad he's out. But as Doug Smith said, kudos to the Tempo. They get Larry now. Larry is an amazing owner, and the Tempo will benefit from it in their early start and how they're going. They're going to benefit from it for sure. That's right. That's right. Nako's here. Good to see Nako. Nako was at the game with me last night in Hamilton. SGA, Andrew Nebhart, and Dylan Brooks were the best players. All those alley-oops. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun because there was a lot of transition. There was a lot of opportunities for dunks. The Team Canada is so aggressive, and they really get up and down the court really fast. You know, we have a certain style, and I can see in some ways how Gordon's going to do things slightly different than Jordy and Nick before him. And yeah, he wants to really play to our strengths. I think that that's one of the calling cards of Herbert is that he understands his personnel. He understands what they can do, and he pushes them to do it at the highest level. And I think that the whole aspect of like that Raptors kind of defense where you're just trying to deflect, get the ball loose and on the floor, it really benefits a team like Canada because Canada has above average talent and athleticism. And if the ball gets knocked loose from a Jamaican player and it's in the middle of the court, it's more likely that the Canadian player is the fastest one or the quickest one or the longest arm one to get that ball and retrieve it. And I think that that was a big part of what happened in the game last night against Jamaica. But yeah, Gerald's saying his 3 stars of the game, SGA, Andrew, and Dylan. Yeah, Dylan was fun, man. Dylan is such a cool character. He's our villain, Dylan. And a lot of people don't like him, but we love him in Canada. That's for sure. We love him in Canada. That's right. UC saying forever grateful. Hang on, I jumped ahead. I want to make sure I don't miss any of the comments today. This is a fantastic day all around for Raptors Nation. And this is just an important, very powerful time. Forever grateful for Kyle Lowry. Couldn't have asked for a better person to retire as a Raptor. Yeah, and DeMar will do it too. And we'll see DeMar get this similar kind of ceremony. I know a lot of people really want DeMar to come and play for us. I'm still not with that. I mean, if there's some sort of way Bobby can finagle it and make it work, I mean, I just don't see how it's going to be like realistically feasible or even like the right move. Like even if it's you're trying to make it, it's hard for me to justify that would be the right move other than just nostalgia and warm feelings and familiarity and people wanting it just for fan reasons. You know, basketball reasons it's not there. I really don't see any basketball reasons to have him on the team. You know, if we can get him for really cheap and he's just part of the pantry full of great talent on the bench, well, in some ways, he's not in the right position where we need depth. We don't need depth at his position. We have that position pretty locked up with depth. We obviously need a center. We obviously need bigger guys to fill out this roster. So that I'd be more interested in Jonas Valanciunas coming back to Toronto than DeMar DeRozan, honestly. And that is something people keep talking about. In fact, let's do the Raptors Redder of the day. I think this is hilarious what this person's doing here. This is Jock O'Fucker. That's an unfortunate name, Raptors Redder. He's saying, what are the chances our hero could be back for 1 year vet minimum? And he's got a picture of Bargnani on here. Yeah, he's trolling y'all. He's trolling everybody who's going down the list of Raptors alumni and saying, what are the chances we get this guy on a vet minimum for this year, too? And he's going all the way back to Andrea. Yeah, hilarious troll, Jocko Fucker. This is exactly the sentiment I have here. It's hilarious. Yeah, why don't we just bring back Amir Johnson while they're at it, is what the comment section is saying here. Because kind of this is what's going on here. Kawhi's feasible. Kawhi makes sense. Kawhi is at a peak. And DeMar's great too. But in some ways, we know what happens when Kawhi's on our team. That's what I'm saying right here. That's right. Let's see. Mo's saying this. Lex, I like that you pushed the stream time ahead for Kyle Lowry Day. Yeah, I had to. There's no way I'm competing with Kyle. It's like I'll come in here at 9:30 and all y'all are in the Lowry stream. Why would I try and compete with Kyle? There's no way I could compete with him. I have to wait, and I appreciate you liking that. Yeah, it was a smart decision. I called an audible this morning. I was like, man, you can't go against them. You know, that's the Raptors and Kyle Lowry. It's 9:30 a.m. I know it's your time, Lex, but you gotta show honor and just bump your show. Bump your show. I mean, preempt it for very important Raptors history. For sure. That's right. Banana Bread Tan saying this. Good morning, y'all. Quick question. Some people think that if Jamal Shed can develop a jump shot, he could be the second coming of Kyle Lowry. What do you think about that take? You know, that's an interesting idea, Banana Bread Tan. I would say this. You know, a lot of the intangibles and the things we talk about with what makes Kyle Lowry special, like the charges and the leadership and that kind of a bulldog kind of attitude and just kind of getting in there and fighting and playing really tough and the intangibles, the unselfishness. Sure, there's a lot in Shed that is similar to Kyle. You know, he's closer to Kyle than a lot of players in the league for sure. That's the thing, though, is like Shed's offense really does need to be more dependable. You know, there's been a lot of games in the 2 years of playing with Shed that he's just disappeared and doesn't give you a single damn thing on offense a game. Now, Kyle would have games like that, but they were maybe far and few between. But Shed has them regularly still. So he has to work on his offensive production to be consistent. In some ways, he's not in a position where it's demanded of him to be an offensive contributor night in, night out, like Kyle Lowry was on our team. And I think that Bobby Webster's stats at the beginning of the press conference were really telling that the Raptors had only won one playoff series, had only had 0 50-win seasons. And then Kyle Lowry came and we won like 9 playoff series and we had 5 50-game seasons while Kyle was here. So his impact is huge. The whole idea of We the North era, Masai Ujiri, DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, Dwayne Casey, these are the people that were so pivotal and important to building the culture and the idea of We the North. And Bobby Webster also too. Jonas Valanciunas, Terrence Ross, Amir Johnson. You know, these kind of names, these were important to building our team up like this. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. Jamal's got a lot of work to do on his offense to get there. And, you know, the path could be similar. I mean, we got to understand how late Kyle hit in his career. It's the kind of thing where, yeah, the template and the path is shown by Lowry's path. Shed, you want to do it like him? Well, you may not be an all-star until like your 8th career season, something like that, because that's kind of how it worked with Lowry, right? There's a delay to all this stuff in his career. His first couple of years in Houston and Grizzlies weren't all that. And in some ways, you know, Shed may be ahead of him in some ways from all that, right? It's an interesting idea. That's right. Fiercely saying Marina for All-Star. I love that. I love that. G saying Colin and his wife were just announced as Tempo owners. That is amazing. Shaq Lindsay saying everybody's talking about who's going to be the next GOAT. Kyle's selfless style and commitment to our team epitomizes what a champion should be. No ego, just commitment and selflessness. Yeah. You know, Scotty Barnes has that selflessness. As Kyle keyed on that in the press conference, talking about being unselfish and that being a big part of what he did and how he would teach young people playing coming up. That's his advice, be unselfish. And Scotty Barnes is one of the most unselfish players I've ever seen in the history of the NBA. No lie. So he's in that right kind of ilk. And it does sound like Kyle is very excited about this year's edition of the Raptors and their promise and their possibilities because he understands the power of Leonard. He understands the power of Leonard very, very close up. That's right. Very, very close up. Let's see. Monique's saying this. When basketball players hear Norman Powell wants to be a part of your program, their ears perk up a little bit and they think that we have something positive going on. That's what the Jamaican men's basketball coach says. That's awesome. Yeah, I saw him up close yesterday, coaching. He kind of reminds me, like, it's kind of funny. I always say this and make the comparison to Cool Runnings with John Candy because he's a big white guy. He's kind of big fat guy, and I always start thinking about like John, like he's kind of like that kind of role coaching the Jamaican basketball team, kind of like Cool Runnings. But yeah, this is true. I mean, Norman's rose the profile of the Jamaican national team, and he's made it more attractive to possibly other NBA players to come and play for them. Unfortunately, Norman was not involved in the game last night, but he does play for them when the really important games come. And the Thompson twins, they're probably going to be start showing up for them at some point too, unless they're kind of getting picked for USA team. But I don't know. They've said I've heard that they're committed to play for Jamaica. And if you have Asura and Ahmed Thompson, those guys are a real boost. But yeah, they are probably more inclined to play for them because of Norman's commitment in recent years to play for Jamaica. Yeah, it's an awesome quote. I love that, Mo. I love that quote. Shaq Lindsay saying, I truly believe without Kyle, there would be no championship. Yes. Yes, because Kawhi is the closer, the finisher, the powerful weapon, the pressurized player that can play and make shots no matter the conditions. But Kyle Lowry is the culture setter. Kyle Lowry is the heart and soul. Kyle Lowry is the personification of the values of the Raptors organization. And that took years to build up. Like, sure, Kawhi came in for 1 year, the first time he was on the Raptors, and won a championship in 1 year. That is amazing. And I'm hoping he'll do it again this year so he can be perfect. 2 championships in 2 years of playing on the Raptors. And hey, let's keep going. If we can get this one this year, let's keep going and get Kawhi perfect like Jordan with the Bulls every single time he went to the finals. I mean, that's what I'm talking about right here. And this opportunity is here that Kawhi can do something very special in that kind of way. I wouldn't doubt him. Seriously, I wouldn't doubt him because I know how powerful a basketball player Kawhi Leonard is. You know what I'm saying? But this is totally true. Kawhi is important, but Kyle and what DeMar and him built in the years leading up to 2019, absolutely important because it's a reverberation. And the effect of Kyle Lowry on the Raptors organization is still felt, even though he's been gone from our team for like 5 years, guys. His value and what he's done for our team, it lives on through people like Scotty and RJ. They asked him in the press conference, the Carter effect, and he's calling you, by the way, on the phone. But how he made this crop of Dylan Brooks and SGA and all this. What do you think about? You're going to have a delay. There's going to be a Kyle Lowry and a championship effect, a Kawhi Leonard, Kyle Lowry championship effect that's going to get a lot of kids involved in basketball. And we're going to see another crop of great young basketball players coming up. And they'll be in interviews saying, I watched Kyle Lowry win the championship in 2019, and that's why I started playing basketball. This is the same thing for the tempo. Somebody's going to come to the game and see Marina Mabry, a young lady, a young girl, and they're going to say, I decided to pick up the basketball because I saw Marina Mabry. I saw Isabel Harrison. I saw Julia Lamont. I saw Niara Sabali. This kind of stuff matters. This kind of stuff is what inspires. And Kyle Lowry is one of the biggest inspirations for basketball in the country of Canada. That is absolutely true. Absolutely true. I want to see the Lowry effect. That's right. It'll be hard to suss out how it is. It's really easy to pinpoint Vince as the epicenter of the effect. But with the championship, it may be a little harder because there's a lot of different contributors there, right? Neil's saying this, SGA is phenomenal. All negative narratives are just teams trying to attack him mentally because his skills are so superb. No different than Celtics executives negatively attacking Jaylen Brown. Yeah, the stuff with Jaylen Brown's getting ugly. The media is taking part in it, and they really are trying to paint him with some stuff that is just not fair. Now, I think it's true. I think that because SGA is Canadian, I think that because he has very voracious, rabid haters in the Western Conference, fans of the Nuggets, fans of the Spurs, fans of the Rockets, fans of the Lakers, all these fan nations out in the Western Conference absolutely hate SGA. And they will make their narratives. It's just like how people hated on Kobe. It's just like how people hated on Michael. It's just like how people hate on LeBron. And they still put all these kind of things. Well, this and this about LeBron. And they throw this. And they have to have some sort of shade they throw on people. But I think especially with SGA, because he's Canadian, and in some ways the American media might protect him more if he was American. Yeah, it's bullshit. But SGA is above it. He doesn't listen to any of this. He's tough, and he does what he does. And if he's doing something so wrong on the court, the referees and Adam Silver would penalize him or change him, or he'd change his game to suit the rules. So all the narratives about SGA that are negative and all this kind of crap, they're haterade powered by haterade, powered by Powerade, powered by Gatorade, powered by haterade. The criticisms of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That's how I feel about it. And yeah, the stuff towards Jaylen Brown right now is very ugly and is wrong. And honestly, it's kind of crazy how you can see you switch a jersey from green to blue with the Sixers, and you see just how things turn like that in that kind of way. Yeah. You know what? The world is afraid of a very, very intelligent, smart black athlete with a lot of money and influence. And I think that that's the big story about Jaylen Brown. Is that there's the world out there that is threatened by people like him because he is smarter and more athletic and better than a lot of his haters and these rich old billionaires that didn't really work for their money, and they're just kind of codgers, and they're shysters, and they stole money off the backs of working people, and they think they're smarter, but they're not. And Jaylen Brown is proof that they're not smarter than him. This man is extremely intelligent. In fact, I heard that he's taken graduate level courses as a freshman, and he's done some amazing work with some of his research projects and the things that he does. He is a very high level scholar and intellectual. And not only that, he's a finals MVP and an NBA champion with the Celtics. So that threatens some people, because some people will never, ever be either one of those things. And they may have more money than him and more influence, and they'll put that bullshit out there to try and taint his image. That's it. That's it right there. Haters can't play attack your character. That's right. The haters can't play, so they talk shit about you online. That's right. That's right. Shaq Lindsay saying Masai understood how important Kyle was to this organization. Yeah, and screw you, Eric Kareem. You jerk. Well, we had to have somebody be like Michael Grange in the interview in the press conference. He had to ask, what about that time when the Raptors tried to trade you in 2019 in the middle of championship season? Fuck you, Eric Kareem. Why are you bringing that up right now? And even the guy sitting next to him gave him a dirty look as he was asking the question. And it was pretty fun to watch these assholes in the media ask their questions on camera for once. So I can see the faces of these idiots, like that John guy who was the guy who did the Scotty hot mic moment a year or so ago. Yeah, we know who you are, John, now. John Woodley, whatever newspaper. You're the motherfucker who did the Scotty Barnes hot mic moment. Yeah, I've identified you, motherfucker. And yeah, it's good to see a face for Ryan Wolstadt and all these people. And yeah, Eric Kareem, you look just as stupid as your voice on the TV. Yeah, when we see you. Yeah, why'd you ask him that? Why do you sully this fucking important press conference with such a lowbrow, shitty-ass question? Yeah, we tried to trade him to New York, but James Dolan chickened out because Masai fleeced him with Bargnani. And yeah, we know that history of that. But do you need to really bring up that the Raptors were strongly considering making him the mid-season trade instead of Jonas Valanciunas in the year of our championship in 2019? Yeah, did you really have to ask that question, Eric Kareem? No, you didn't. You sorry-ass piece of shit. That's right. You should have been on the list with Grange, honestly. Yeah, you should have been on the list with Grange. It's crazy, man. Yeah. Yeah, let's keep going. Let's see. Blackhawk saying, when I can't beat you, I call you a foul baiter or go after your intelligence. Why? Way to sway public opinion. Yeah. Some people are mad at Jaylen Brown for saying, when I walk into a room, I'm the smartest person in the room. You know, he may be. He may be just telling the truth. Like, seriously, probably around the Celtics organization, that's probably true. Yeah, it's probably still true at Sixers organization too. That man walks in the room, he probably is the smartest person in the room. I'm not going to go against him on that. Maybe it's arrogant for him to say it, but people are using that against him right now. What, is it wrong for a black guy to be the smartest guy in the room? He could be the smartest guy in the room. Get over yourself. I'm serious. He probably is. He probably has the credentials and the record and the references to show you. Yeah, I'm the smartest person in the room. Oh, yeah, wait, he does have it. It all checks. He is the smartest person in the room. I'm sorry. This dude has ties to MIT. He's been doing like nuclear fission studies. Yeah, he is the smartest person in the room. Don't get insulted by that. What, you want to be the smartest person in the room? Go fucking do the work that he did at school and fucking learn like he did. I don't mind riffing for Jaylen Brown. Seriously, in some ways, with him free from that green, ugly ass jersey, even though he's on the hated Sixers still, another hated team, I'm going to be standing for Jaylen Brown in this world and the forces that are out there that hate him, because I know that those forces that are out there that hate Jaylen Brown are forces that I'm not with and I don't like. So, yeah, I stand with Jaylen Brown. Oh, yeah, I stand with him. That's right. That's right. When I can't beat you, I call you a foul baiter. That's right. That's messed up. Shaq Lindsay saying, it wouldn't surprise me to see Masai when we hang his jersey. I don't know. We've got to understand, we don't want, in some ways, Masai's got to watch out. He's really in charge of the Mavericks. He is the head of the Mavericks now. And he has to run that team. And, he could get in trouble for spending too much time in Toronto with the tempo, or even like if he had showed up to this press conference today, the optics would look bad because he's under contract and he works for Patrick Dumont. He works for that genocidal bitch, Adelson. And in some ways, it's not a good look when you're actually with that, even if there's old history and all this kind of stuff. Unless the game is against Dallas, I would say you're probably wrong. That makes me wonder also, are they going to time it? Because Kyle said that DeMar is going to be at his jersey retirement no matter what. Does that mean we're going to play whatever team we play DeMar against, whichever team he ends up on this year, is going to be the game when we retire Kyle's jersey? I mean, that's something we're going to have to figure out too. In some ways, it would make sense for Kyle to get his jersey retired when we play Philadelphia and Nick Nurse this season. That would make the most sense, that he's going to get his jersey retirement during a game that has to do with, the Sixers. I have no idea. We'll have to see when they decide to do this and how DeMar will be able to show up and be there, depending on where he is with his team. I wouldn't expect Masai to be there necessarily. Because like I said, he doesn't need Mavericks Nation starting to question how distracted and all over the place he is with different things and whether he's doing a good job for the Mavericks team and what he's trying to build there. So, yeah, it's in some ways it's images and helping Ujiri on his birthday. Happy birthday. Happy 56, Masai. Not get it clouded, or, he has to establish that he has success in Dallas. Some people are skeptical of him around that fan nation already. They've been through a lot with the Luka trade and Nico Harrison. And in some ways, Masai is salvation to get it out of the mud and get the team in the right direction again. But they have to see proof of evidence of him working and making it move that direction. Some of them may not trust him totally. And if they're seeing him too much up here in Toronto, I mean, they understand why he's around the tempo. He's a part owner. He's going to go to tempo games. But if he starts showing up for Raptors stuff while he's working for the Mavs, it may be a conflict of interest, and it may not look good to the people he's working for now, is what I would say. Fiercely saying, oh, wow, thank you so much for the play. Hey, thank you for playing, and you are officially on there now in the corner as our most recent champion. That's right. And we, normally would have played trivia today. But yesterday I had too much driving, and I didn't have enough time to get the trivia together. So I said, you know what? I'm going to a game. Let's just react to Team Canada. And wow, Kyle Lowry press conference. We have stuff to do than to do some trivia this morning. But yeah, we were going to play trivia today, but too much driving and a late night getting home last night. There you go. That's the cup. I love that so much. Fiercely with the cup. You know what? I'm going to give you a dunk, Fiercely, for being a champion. You're getting a 10 dunk right now, which is 30 points added. So, wow, you're going to leapfrog ahead to the lead over Isaac, because this means you're going to be at, holy crap, you're going to be at 126. 126 on the dunk charts. Hey, you might be dunk champion, because Kareem is not keeping up his pace normally for normal years right now. Let's see. Seymour's saying hi to Eye Candy, and Slug Deezy is saying congratulations to Fiercey. Now, there's somebody that could very well get their name on that plate next year. Slug Deezy, Raptor Freak Trivia Champion 2027. Sounds pretty good, Slug Deezy. King of the Classic card. Put in that work on the Classic card and show up for trivias when you can, and you'll probably get there. There's not going to be as many trivias this year, so there's going to be a lot of Classic card points that are going to be the big part of it there. Yeah. I could go look at the trivia standings right now. I won't do that right this second. It's kind of weird. Let's see. Blackhawk saying, Fiercey, your name looking good in bronze. I'm jealous. I don't know if it's actually bronze. It's like a shiny, silvery kind of color. Let's see. Fiercey saying, thank you, fam. I really appreciate it. No, it's a joy. And this is a tradition. And now we have 5 champions. 5 years of the channel, 5 champions. That's right. Congratulations to Fiercey from Mo. We know Mo's got a trivia championship trophy also that she was awarded from David at her birthday a couple years ago. Because we know that Mo is one of the top knowledgeable Raptors fans that knows her stuff about the Raptors and all the trivia. So David gave her all-time Raptor Freak Trivia Championship trophy, and she has that at her house. And it's similar to this one. It's a similar trophy. It looks like this one. Yeah. Congratulations indeed for Fiercey. Let's see. You already put in the Discord. Okay, I'll go watch that. The training, the runs with IQ and Scotty after the show. Thank you, Trevor. Let's see. Blackhawks saying 50 wins started on Kyle's watch. Yeah. The tradition of how we are with our team, the template, the type of player that we like to have on our team. It came from that. We didn't have a Raptor type like we talk about so much lately. Is like, to be a Raptor now, you have to have prerequisites. You have to have dog. You have to have hardworking mentality. You have to have unselfishness. You have to have intelligence. You have to have, it's really tough. It's not normal. You can be anything to get on the Wizards, but not on Toronto. Toronto's a hard team to get onto because we really vet people. We don't just have a revolving door of bringing in people in and out and trying a whole bunch of people. No, we try and get the right people the first time and invest time and energy in them and work with them longer. I think that's part of the thing that Raptors fan nation does not get with always wanting movement and stuff like that, is that we do our homework. We do it the right way. And we're not trying to have a revolving door of players coming in and out of our team. And I think that in some ways, DeRozan and Lowry set the template for the type of player that the Raptors have been coveting and looking for ever since they've been on our team. That's Jamal Shed. That's Colin Murray-Boyles. That's Norman Powell. That's Fred VanVleet. It's that kind of stuff. That's what I'm saying right there. That's what I'm saying. Most saying Kyle talking about his mom in the video hit extremely different. Yeah, he kind of mentioned her for a second, but talking about his wife and his kids too. You know, it's too bad that Carter couldn't be there, but good that Cameron was there. Very, very good. Yeah. G saying this looks good, Fiercey. There you go. Original trivia champion G. Looking at the most recent champion. There you go. I love it. Shaq Lindsay saying, I think that off-season run you're talking about with Beasley is old footage. It was from last off-season. I think that may be true also. You know, Trevor, you got to watch out. You don't want to re-put stuff that's actually old, because I do kind of remember the Beasley run last year. I'll look at it and I'll know for sure once I see it, because I remember that footage from last year if it's the same stuff. Cool Cat saying, I was looking for Kyle's mom, blessed mom. I didn't listen to rumors back then. My prayers and gratitude that she joined with us fans celebrating Kyle. I know that things with Marie Holloway hopefully are okay. I don't know. I mean, you know, Kyle's had ups and downs. Hopefully his mom's doing okay. I know that she really loved being in the crowd with the fans here in Toronto. She was always a very active supporter of her son with the fans in the crowd. And she'd even come back and be here even after he left. She was coming in supporting the Raptors still, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with her. I hope that she's okay and that only good things are happening. Only good things are happening. Mr. Greg's back in the chat. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, Mr. Greg. Somebody said yesterday, I mean, Gerald said when we were leaving the game at TD Coliseum for Team Canada, I was helping Adriana up the stairs and we were kind of really preoccupied. That Gerald said that he thought he heard somebody yell Raptors freak at me when we were leaving the arena, but I didn't hear it myself. So if anybody is watching right now and you were at the game yesterday and you were yelling Raptors freak at me when I was leaving, but I didn't hear it because I was trying to help Adriana up the stairs. Let me know if you were there because Gerald swears he heard somebody yelling Raptors freak from me from the crowd. Which is, it makes sense. It could be anybody who's been watching me at some point could have been yelling that. I saw Eric Smith in the concourse, the great Eric Smith, Fan 590, Raptors radio broadcaster, at the game, and I shouted out and said, "What's up, Eric? What's up, man? Good to see you." Yeah, it was cool to see Eric Smith at the game for a second there. Shaq Lindsay saying this, but Walter is putting in some work. Man, he looks good. I almost thought I was watching Kawhi. Well, that's one thing. These guys are dogs and they work hard. They put in the time, they put in the effort, and I'm proud of them. Y'all, hang on a sec. I got to do something. There's something going on outside. I think they're paving the road. Sorry about that. I just I smell burning asphalt and it smells horrible. And I said I just closed the window. So I don't know what they're doing outside right now. Yeah, Walter's got more muscle. Him and Shed both. Shed's arms look like logs. They're crazy. It's just like insane what Shed's arm looks like right now. But yeah, Walter's shown this every offseason. He has a grind. He does Norman's grind. He grinds. And I fully expect Walter to come back and make another leap and play at another level. This is another reason why, in some ways, we don't need DeRozan to come back because Jacoby, in some ways, is playing the same position also. You know, the depth chart right now at shooting guard is RJ Barrett, Jacoby Walter, Elijah Martin. And I'm fine with that. I am fine with that. The depth chart for a small forward, Kawhi Leonard, Jamison Battle, Allen Graves, something like that, you know? So, we got to do what we got to do, and let's keep our team, the people we're investing in, the youth that are the future, let's keep an open runway for them to take off. Jacoby Walter would be hindered by a return by DeMar DeRozan. That's just true. It's just true. At this point, with our roster and the way it's built right now. Let's see. Cool Cat's saying this. Kawhi is here to show Scotty what it takes to win, and of course his contract. You know, Kawhi, I could probably name like 12 reasons why Kawhi is back. 12 reasons. Dr. Alex, redeem himself for leaving the first place. He wants a legacy in the NBA that is positive, and he doesn't want to be hated at every place he played at or feel like a failure at every place. And even though he burned the bridge with San Antonio, that's really hard bridge to build again. The one in Toronto is a little easier to rekindle and make it back, and that's what he's doing. The time in LA is a failure. So if he really wants, something really positive to look at, like Kyle Lowry today, he's got to come back and rekindle the things here in Toronto because he has success here already that will be bona fide. And it's just that he needs to not. The whole thing is that Kawhi walked away from everything when he left that time. And it was stupid. But he's had years to reflect on it and realize how stupid it was. And now he's trying to make it right. So, he has a lot to prove. As I said in the last week, Kawhi is not like Kevin Durant. Kawhi is not like LeBron James. He has the tank in him and the ability to take a team on his shoulders and still win a championship. Kevin Durant ain't got it anymore to do that. LeBron James ain't got it like that to do that anymore. He needs help. Kawhi doesn't. Kawhi can still do exactly what he did for us still at this point in his career, at this age. And that's the thing. And the other thing is he's got to think about his career in comparison to James and Durant and Curry. And, a third championship with the Raptors being the second one with the Raptors, maybe even 2 more championships with the Raptors before he's done, which don't get it twisted. This is possible, especially if he ain't running out on the chance to repeat after we win this year. I'm telling you, this will elevate him. In some ways, will make up for all the missed games and the load management and all the time that he's been out. and half the time we're missing on his life, this will elevate him back up there to be more equal in ways with Durant and James and Curry. And in some ways, that is a very good motivation for him. Because look, Kawhi's a competitor. Kawhi only does things one way because that's how he is. He's a professional. He can't come out there and play half-assed. The only thing that holds him up is his health and not being available. If he's on the court and he's fully him, he's going all out and he's going to do what it takes. And once again, we have to remind people, he did not want to be in Toronto. He came to Toronto. He honored his contract. He played his ass off. He even played hurt at times. And we saw the outcome, and he did this. Now, this time, he's committed to being here for more than just 1 year. And in some ways, he will fulfill his contract as hopefully, God willing, because he's healthy, and he will take his high-level play and do it again for us again. That's what I'm saying here. You know, he's got a lot to prove. He's got a lot to prove. I was thinking about this storyline. What if we have this kind of a year? We retire Kyle's jersey. Kawhi's on the team. Kawhi and Scotty and Colin and RJ and Emmanuel are amazing. They're running roughshod over the league. We're one of the top 2 seeds in the East, one of the top 2. We have home court advantage in the first round. Somehow, some way, we're playing the Cavs again in the first round, and LeBron James is on their team. We get to play LeBron and the Cavs in the first round, and we destroy them, and we end LeBron's career because he's retiring at the end of the year, just like we closed down Oracle when we beat the Warriors in 2019. We closed down LeBron for his career in Cleveland, and we killed that LeBronto bullshit. The second round, we play the Sixers and Nick Nurse and Big Dummy and Jaylen Brown and Tyrese Maxey. And we get them, and we have a little history from that. And maybe even there's a Kawhi bounce or something like that happens again. Maybe it's Scotty or RJ gets a bounce. But we have that. Think about it. We go all the way to the finals, and we play the Spurs in the finals and Victor Wembanyama. And we kick their ass. Maybe we play the Knicks in the Eastern Finals first, and we have to beat OG and the Villanova guys, and we kick the Knicks' ass, the defending champions, and put them out in the Eastern Conference Finals. Then we play the Spurs in the finals, Victor Wembanyama, and it's Kawhi against his original team. Think about those storylines and this drama of each round like that. Wouldn't that be crazy if this is actually what happens this year, is that we get that exact path coming up? Maybe they're jumbled a little bit. Maybe it's like Philly in the first round and Cleveland in the second. You know, maybe it's jumbled. Maybe instead of the Spurs, it's SGA and the Thunder in the finals. The storylines with Kawhi Leonard in Toronto and possibly LeBron James in either Cleveland or Miami are huge, huge. And Kawhi against San Antonio in the finals on Toronto. Oh my gosh, y'all. Think about that whole thing right there. Oh my gosh. It's crazy, man. It is crazy. Blackhawk saying aspiration is a fine word. We can't let a company hijack a positive word. So no banning of a positive word. You can't let the devil win. Well, I'm going to disagree with you because it's just a poor choice of words around that individual. You can use that word anywhere else, but not with Kawhi Leonard. In some ways, it's not the right thing. You know, when I play cards, I don't use a certain word anymore. I call it high card because somebody has ruined that word for me. And you can say evil wins, but fuck that. In some ways, that motherfucker has self-promotion all over the place with his name everywhere. I'm not even going to say his name when I'm playing spades anymore because I'll just say high bid, high card, yeah, ace, whatever. We're gonna seriously, it's your choice, Neil. You do it however you want. Just as much as I'm not trying to make the rules for everybody else, but this is the way I live. I've exonerated and put away that name of the pedophile in chief, pedophile kleptocrat, stealing money from the American taxpayers that killed little girls and buried them in a golf course. Yeah, I'm not using his name anymore for card stuff because his name is involved in playing cards. And I've decided that I'm using other words instead. I don't even want to use the word great anymore because it's been so sullied with the bullshit down in the States. I say good or fantastic instead. It's my choice because in some ways, some of this shit has been branded and is all kind of fucked up now. People have hijacked this shit for a pedophile in charge and stuff like that. Yeah, it's funny that the Team USA got bounced out of the World Cup after Trump got involved because it is really kind of like he is bringing losses for whoever he's cheering on whenever he's around. God hates you. He's punishing you. So whatever team you're behind, Knicks, you went to the Knicks game, you sat next to James Dolan. What happened in that Knicks game? Their winning streak for the playoffs got snapped because your sorry ass showed up as a spectacle. Well, you mess around and endorse the Team USA in the World Cup, and they get their asses bounced by Julie Alamon. Happy birthday, her Belgian team. That's right. And I love that. Belgium put the US out of the World Cup, and they're hosting the World Cup. Yeah, that's the Trump effect. Yeah, Trump, you want to come to a finals game when the Raptors are playing in the finals? Yeah, we love that. Whatever team you're rooting for, which is US, we're going to beat them just because of that. You know, I do see the correlation. The Raptors with Kawhi on the team is when Trump's president or pedophile in charge. And yeah, maybe that's the one positive of living in idiot pedophiles world is that the Raptors are on an upswing whenever he's in that position. It's like, yeah, hey, hey, I'll take the good sides. But yeah, I'm not going to use that word myself around Kawhi or whatever thing around there because in some ways it is disrespectful. Maybe Kyle did that as a Freudian slip. Maybe he did it just as a dumb joke to mess with him. I don't know. Either way, it was a poor choice of words, at least from this Raptors fan who's trying to move past that whole scandal because this dude's on our team now again. And I'm listen, I'm gonna protect Kawhi. I'm protecting him from Monique right now. I'm protect Kawhi just like I protect RJ. Maybe I protect RJ a little bit more deeper and it's more heartfelt. But no, Kawhi's one of our dudes again, and Lex is standing for Kawhi. So if you got a problem with fucking Kawhi, you got a problem with me. Is basically what I'm gonna say right now. Yeah, I'm saying that right now. You'll send it to me? Okay, cool. Cool. Thanks, Mo. I appreciate that. Let's see. Trevor's saying this. People are mad again at Trump getting involved. And USA lost to Belgium last. I know they're mad. He has a curse on him. I said that word. I don't like using that word either. But in this situation, he does. He's making all kinds of ancestral curses that are going to go towards him and his name and his family forever. What right now? This is just what's happening. This is this kind of evil power and what he's doing. It's gonna, yeah. I feel bad for little Baron. Oh, poor little Baron. Jamie Cabelli is here. Thank you for the subscription, man, and good to see you in the chat. Let's see. Kyle could unretire in the playoffs, like how Tim Hardaway backtracked on his words, which I think he had right the first time. I think it's interesting that Tim Hardaway Sr. will not let Tim Hardaway Jr., who signed with the Miami Heat recently, wear his number 10 in Miami. I think that's interesting. Dad's like, no, man, you don't get my number. Dell said if Steph showed up in Charlotte, he could wear 30 if he played for the Hornets. Seth Curry did wear 30 in honor of Dell, even though Dell retired. They retired that number for Dell Curry in Charlotte. But Tim Hardaway Sr. won't let Tim Hardaway Jr. wear number 10 in Miami. That's interesting. That's interesting. No, Kyle won't do this. He did the whole fake out at the beginning of the press conference. He said, I'm come here to announce, well, now that I've seen that this is going on with Y, I'd like to be here to announce that I'm returning to the Toronto Raptors to play this season. He's like, no, I'm just kidding. I'm fucking with you. I'm not going to do that. UC, thank you for the super chat, $6.99 super chat. I really appreciate that, man. That's so awesome. Thank you so much. They're saying my first ever jersey I ever bought was Lowry's. The one he won game 6 over the Warriors with. I got emotional earlier while using it. I love you, Kyle. There you go. I love that. That's a beautiful story right there. And thank you for supporting the channel, UC. That's so sweet and awesome. All right, let's see. Let's keep going with the chat here. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I don't think Kyle would do that. That's such an unorthodox move. And according to Danny Green, to unretire, it takes a lot of paperwork and a lot of jumping through hoops. It's not easy to do. Once you do the retirement stuff, the NBA takes you as retired and you're in a whole new category. It has to do with pensions. It has to do with payments and all kinds of stuff. And it's a hassle. It's a lot of red tape. It's a lot of procedures. And I don't know. Kyle may be like, man, I don't want to do all this. I'm just going to go golf. because it's like it is official stuff. You got to put in paperwork, and it changes your status and stuff like that. So Neil's saying, "Hey, I'm a man, and I cried this morning watching our 2019 ring ceremony. That video is a work of art." No, I had a little couple of tears this morning too. I think a lot of us do that are true Raptors fans that are emotional, and we do feel things in our heart. We're not cold, awful pedophiles that are running the U.S. government right now. No, we have feelings, and we can feel things, and yeah, I think a lot of fans had to grab for the tissue this morning for sure. But Kyle's not like that himself. He's a tough dude. He's just gonna be up there and just say his thing and be jokey and be Kyle. Kyle's gonna be Kyle. That's right. That's right. Shaq Lindsay saying this. I see why Jamarian Sharp is still playing in the G League. He's not an NBA player, and we don't need him. So you watch them some more. Has there been more summer league action with the Sacramento Kings at the California Classic? And you're seeing Sharp, and you're seeing the reality of it. It sucks. It's the kind of thing where that's why it's so special that Wemby is what Wemby is because Wemby has those skills at that height that make him absolutely an NBA player, maybe the most dominant player ever in the league coming up. Yeah, in some ways, it's like you can't just be tall. You got to have other stuff too. And this is what we're finding about Sharp. But I still want to see him for ourselves on Friday on our summer league team when we take the court in summer league for the first game in Vegas on Friday. And we'll see how he works with our guys and our coach Evo and in the summer league. That's what I want to see first. Neil's saying this: Donovan's not going to the Knicks because Dolan mandated the front office shed salary. That means no room for Donovan. That makes sense. That makes sense what you're saying there. But I also think it's, maybe the Mikal Bridges move was the one that kind of said, okay, yeah, you're not going to be able to fit in with this roster and the salary cap. Because now we've got Bridges here too with Cat and Brunson and OG, and there's just a lot of money tied up in those people. And yeah, Dolan's won his ring. So Knicks fans, get ready to see your team get dismantled slowly but surely over the next couple of years, and you won't win again. You won't win again. No, you got your peak. You got there. It was the right switch to go from Thibodeau to Mike Brown, obviously. And, well, you got it. You finally broke that long drought, but don't expect more of them. Let's just put it that way, because the pattern with the NBA is a different champion every year. And it's partly because when you win a championship, everybody comes like vultures to pick parts off your team, whether it's coaches or players. And also that gets really hard to retain people once they're successful, and they need a pay increase to keep all that underneath the salary cap. So that's just how it is. It happened to Denver. It happened to Milwaukee. It's happened to Boston. Yeah, it happened to us. It's just going to happen, Knicks, and that's just how it is. Sorry, it's just how it is. It's just how it is. Yeah, Mitchell Robinson's already gone from that team, and he may be a very important, like, unsung piece for why they did what they did this year. Yeah, let's see what else you guys are saying. Kaloy's saying happy Lowry retirement day, folks. I love that. And Jamie's saying Shea cut the braids. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. You know what I think this is? It's symbolic of him going into a new mindset. They win the championship last year, and they have the year of being champions, and they're trying to come back around and repeat. They lose to the Spurs in the Western Conference Finals, and they don't get there. And, in some ways, failure will make you want to change things to get a new mindset. Jacoby Walters takes his hair down after a rookie year, comes in for his sophomore year with a new mindset and a new era. Murray's going to be changing. Murray-Boyles is going to be changing from 12 to 30 this year on his jersey. It's a new mindset back to his old number. And, well, I think it's symbolic that SGA has his hair short now, and that in some ways this is a new look, a new era. And this is an era where Oklahoma City is still trying to ring hunt, even though they lost this year. And he's going for a gold with Team Canada in the next few years also. So, yeah, SGA's got a new attitude and maybe a new kind of thing, and that's symbolic in his appearance. I think that's what it is right there. Jamie, thanks for multiple comments here. Keep going. We would love to hear the comments, especially from new people in chat. That's right. Let's see. Where am I in the chat? I just lost my spot. Let's see where we're at. No. I'm sorry. Little intermediary music there. I just don't understand the hate for Kawhi. He was a free agent. He has every right to exercise his right to go wherever he wants. It's a whole thing where it was all decided before and we had no chance. It's very much on the record that he just was using us as a pit stop to get what he wanted. And really, this was a fight between him and the Spurs, not us. It really had nothing to do with us. The Spurs organization did not want to give him what he wanted. He was demanding a trade to LA. It could have been the Lakers or the Clippers. It was before LeBron showed up there, right? I think. So he was just demanding a trade to LA because he wanted to go home. And once again, I'm going to say this. Part of the reason is his sister is a convict. She is a lot of legal trouble. She's been in prison a lot of the last 10 years and she can't come to Canada. She's a felon. She's also somebody that he matters to him. And that was one of the things that nobody's talking about publicly is his sister's criminal record and why she is it matters to him and why he wanted to be in California. He had decided he wanted to be in California way before the Raptors were even in the whole picture. The Spurs told him straight up, no, we're not going to give you what you want. You're being an asshole. You're sitting out. You're hardballing us by not playing. And this has gone south. And this is awful. We hate you. And you're starting to hate us too. There's a lot of stuff been said. Tony Parker said this. Skip Bayless said this. This is going on here. And this is this. No, we're going to send you to Toronto as a punishment. And that's why he came here. And he had to. Because the year he sat out the year before, he just sat out and he was kind of hurt, but he could have probably played. He couldn't sit out a whole other year just to sit out to make a point against the Spurs. That would have been jeopardizing his career. So he had to come here and play. And he did. And you saw one of the most amazing seasons in Raptors history, the most amazing season in Raptors history so far. And you saw the highest level of excellence and winning the championship by the end of it, right? He's still the whole time, the whole year. And Fred and Nick and Kyle and all these people will tell you, yeah, he was telling us all along he was probably only going to be here for 1 year. And there was nothing we could do about it. So they knew that they had this assignment. They had to get it done in 1 year and get it done. And they did. And then we won. And he saw the adulation. He saw it quiet and dying. And he really seriously thought about staying. He wasn't going to even think about it the whole time until the end. And he did seriously think about it. But ultimately, Steve Ballmer did some shifty, illegal shit that make it really enticing. And he did go. But that was the original plan all along. And he regretted it, I'll bet you, almost immediately after the first year in LA. And he saw what happened with SGA and the ripples of trading him to get Paul George and what Oklahoma City became in those years since. And, he didn't have the medical staff in the Clippers. He didn't have the organization building a team around him that makes him successful. That's something Kyle said today. You need to listen to is that I thank the Raptors organization, Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster, for putting a team around us that had the ability to try and win all the time. And that may be one of the biggest differences between being on the Clippers and being on the Raptors. Because as much as the Clippers can go get big names like Russell Westbrook, Paul George, and James Harden, that doesn't mean that's a winning formula. And that's what I try and tell casuals and nephews and Raptors Nation all the time. Just getting big names doesn't mean you're going to win. Sometimes these guys are toxic and they get in the way of you winning. In some ways, the way the Raptors build teams to get towards success is the right way. And the Clippers is not the right way. And Kawhi Leonard sat on that team for years just recently and saw exactly from the inside how the wrong way is. And he could see the difference between Toronto and LA. And he knows, just like Kyle said today, that Toronto, Bobby Webster, Masai before him, put the Raptors in the best position to try and win for you to have a chance to not be wasting your life in the NBA, sitting on a bench or sitting on a team that's going nowhere and feeling like desolate and looking lost on the bench in his sweaters, Kawhi Leonard, as you can't play in the playoffs and everything's just gone to shit and you're spinning your wheels in LA and nothing happens. No, in Toronto, we build things right and to last and with character and with quality and not with some shim sham man named James Harden with a beard. That's what I'm saying, y'all. That's the thing, partly why he's back here, is because he wants to feel that feeling like Brandon felt last year, being on a team that knows what it's doing, that's high quality, that is investing in the right ways and does things the right ways so that we can get to the right places. And Leonard will do that again with us. It's a part of it right there. That's a big part of why he's back right there. That's right. That's right. It's a big part of it. Yeah. Salute to the GROAT. That's what Seymour's saying. And Jamie Cabelli is saying, I think the Kawhi hate is like the Vince Carter effect. Yeah. I mean, the Vince Carter hate is what you could say. You know, I'll be honest. I have not forgiven Vince completely. I tried to. I went along with all the celebrations of him that year. And I was like, okay, I got to put this to rest. I got to be okay with them retiring his jersey before Kyle. I got to be okay with them, like Vince coming back and crying and kind of being ingenuine, but also being like, you know, embracing his Raptor roots finally in a way that I feel like is respectful. That really went a long way with this. And him apologizing for not being able to be at a Raptors game was like, okay, he finally apologized to Raptors fans somehow, some way, even if it was just because he couldn't be at a game that season to be in the house for like, I think they were celebrating his dunk competition, the anniversary of that. You know, I still haven't totally forgave Vince. But with Kawhi, in some ways, I was like, look, the way with Kawhi was you were so successful. I can't hate you. You were a big reason why I won the championship. It's always been a weird thing. It's like, yeah, it wasn't ideal that Kawhi went to LA. It was a stupid mistake. And he understands that. But I can't do anything about it. We can't change the past. And now maybe he understands it and he's trying to circle back and redeem things. So in some ways, I got to give him a chance. I like comeback stories. I like the story where the guy is down and out like Rocky and he comes back in the fight. And in some ways, this is kind of what this is. You know, Vince's story arc didn't have this in it. In some ways, he just took off. He was a villain with the Nets. In some ways, he disparaged us on public U.S. broadcasts many, many times and pissed me off. He's been kind of half Nets nation, half Raptors nation since the last couple of years. It's annoying to me. You know, and it's true. The hate towards both those Raptors icons is similar in some ways, but not totally. Because in some ways, like I said, I just told the whole story of Kawhi and why he left. You know why his championship ring has a middle finger on it instead of CN Tower. That's a middle finger for the Spurs. And, you know, if he gets a chance to play Wemby in the playoffs this year on the Raptors, yeah, he's going to want to get some more middle finger against the Spurs, I'm sure. Because in some ways, it's like the Spurs fans really hate him. They really hate him still. They really hate him. And this has been a long time. They've had a year longer that hate him than any Raptors fans that have hated him since. But the comparison's true. You know, it's tough when you have icons like this. I'm not cool with Bosh either. Chris Bosh is not a Raptor that I celebrate, but he's a franchise cornerstone and a franchise player in a history of our team. But I'm not cool with Bosh. Bosh is Heat Nation. Bosh went into the Hall of Fame as a Heat player. And in some ways, he's not proud of his Raptors career. And he really doesn't talk about it, even though he's up near among the leaders in our franchise records. Yeah, there's certain Raptors that are not cool with me, even though they're prominent. And Chris Bosh and Vince Carter are two of them. So, yeah. All right, we're going to get 4 quarters with Seymour Pape here. All right, hang on. Good morning, Sheriff.
What's going on? You're good?
Yeah, man. Good to hear from you. Let's do the 4 quarters. I missed this. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right. I'm gonna hit you up with. Do you think there's like some form of conspiracy going on with our team? Like, I'm not saying like with our team. I would say against our team. The reason why I say that is, as soon as we got Kawhi. Okay, first let's start with first quarter.
Okay.
Getting Kawhi, right? The only 2 options was San Antonio and Toronto, and then out of the blue, San Antonio's, I think they said they couldn't, their package wasn't like ours, what we were putting with Ingram and everything. I still think there's something behind it. Like someone said earlier in the chat, not today, but they said in the other episode, they said that he was already on our team before and then he left based on the allegation and everything. So it was only right and fitting that we get him, because it seems like we're the organization that was done dirty. Yeah. Behind all that. What's your thoughts on that?
This is stuff that Pablo Torre's talking about right now, that his latest reports and the whole thing with Kawhi is, you know, he's saying a couple different things. And I believe this may be very well true. You know, in some ways, they got in trouble. Let's just say they got in trouble. They're dead to rights wrong for the aspiration scandal. Steve Ballmer, Uncle Dennis, Kawhi. But Adam Silver does not want a big, huge public affair. They don't want it all over the press. They don't want the NBA getting this all done. So they go into closed doors and they work it out behind closed doors. First of all, they understand that Steve Ballmer and the Clippers need to be punished. They need to be punished because they did wrongdoing. And the Raptors didn't do anything wrong. In fact, we refused to do the wrongdoing when Uncle Dennis and Kawhi asked us to do it. So it's funny because when this scandal came out last year about aspiration, a lot of Raptors fans were saying, well, we should get Kawhi back as punishment to them. And I was like, that's crazy because this aspiration thing doesn't really have to do with us. The stuff they did to us was tampering with Lawrence Frank and Doc Rivers. But in a weird roundabout way of logic, you could make a case that two teams were aggrieved by Kawhi Leonard and his shenanigans. And it's the Spurs and the holdout and the way he got to our team. And then us with the tampering and him taking the illegal deal with the Clippers. So Adam Silver says, we're going to make this right. You can only go to one of those two teams. San Antonio says, we got Wemby. There's no way our fan base is going to be cool with him coming here. It's going to be a circus. And in some ways, we don't need this distraction while we're building with Victor. So there was like, we're out. So it's basically kind of like, okay, now all of a sudden Kawhi's saying the only team I want to go to is the Raptors. Now that may not be totally true. It could be that Adam Silver said, you don't have any choice. You're in trouble. You want to play in the NBA? This is the only way you play in the NBA. Otherwise, we are kicking you out of the league and you're out. And we'd like you to be in the NBA. So in some ways, maybe it is righting a wrong, and that the Raptors fans calling out for us to get retribution or reimbursement for the things that we were done dirty for. I could see all this being exactly true. Because it makes sense. But the thing is, like I said, Kawhi came to our team for 1 year when he didn't really want to be here, and he did the highest level shit. So like I said, father time is on the clock with him. He don't have time to waste his time, spin his wheels like he did with Steve Ballmer for 7 years. He has to go get it now. So that's why I think that he is highly motivated, even if it's not necessarily exactly where it be. But he's also kind of like, well, this isn't that bad. I mean, when I came to Toronto, it was awesome, even though I didn't really want to be here in the first place. He leaned into it. So I think this is kind of what it is right here. Is what it is.
And if you remember back too, okay, like I might be getting but we're still on quarter one. I might be getting a little deep with this.
It's fine.
I think when they said the Spurs and Raptors were the only two teams, it was only fitting. That's right. But do you remember what the Spurs did, sort of, when we were playing against the Warriors in that final series? Do you remember when Popovich met up with Steve Kerr for dinner, and there was all this talk? Do you remember that, or am I going too far with that?
I don't know. I didn't hear about any of this, so I can't really have an opinion on this because I don't know about this Popovich Kerr dinner. I don't know about it.
Yeah. So during the finals, Popovich met up with Kerr. I believe it was before Game 6.
So are you trying to insinuate that Greg was giving Steve Kerr information about Kawhi to try and beat the Raptors?
Yep, that's for sure. That's 100. It's proven. It's documented facts.
Well, it didn't work. It didn't work at least. And I mean, in some ways I get that because Popovich, Steve Kerr is in his coaching tree. Steve Kerr came up as an assistant with Popovich, and he is somebody that is the Spurs nation. He won championships with the Spurs, right? As a player. So
right.
That makes sense.
Man. They sent Kawhi up north as a punishment. They didn't expect the result to be what it was.
And a reward.
And he overcame everything.
Yeah. And that's why I think that his ring has a middle finger on it. All right, let's do number 2.
All right. A lot of these diva players now. You hearing with KD talking about he wants to play with Cade Cunningham now?
Really?
Have you heard that?
No, I hadn't heard that. So he wants to switch up again. See, that's what I'm saying. He's going nowhere. He's not loyal. He's not a true leader at this point in his career, which is sad because he has so much to give back to the game, but he's just not that personality. And now it's like his whole MO now is when anything gets difficult or hard, just cut and run. And
yeah, they're following the team gutter. And I want to give praises to Bobby for not making that move. I think it was 2-3 seasons ago.
yeah, the Scotty for
about
Durant that was talked about so much by Jake Fisher and his bullshit. Yeah,
exactly. You know, I want to give Bobby his props for not pulling that trigger, man, because KD just seems to be a diva who wants to put on every
He's a dead end
jersey in the league.
He's a dead end. And I think he's getting in the way of places. In fact, in some ways, you know what? The Rockets this past season would have been better off with KD out for the season and Fred playing. They would have done better. I honestly will say that right now. Yeah. All right, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
That's interesting. I hadn't heard anything about KD saying he wants to go to Detroit. It's obvious that he's on the outs with the Rockets after just one season and the silliness of all that. I wonder if the Rockets would rather have Dylan back at this point. Seriously. So, all right, number 3.
The position, and you don't think something's weird. Like, as soon as we get Kawhi, and there was that moment where everyone was saying, you know, the Raptors will be top of the East, and all of a sudden now, you get Philly getting all these players. And it's weird because it's not players coming from outside of our division. It's all players coming from in our division that are stacking up on Philly right now. Like, when you have Jaylen Brown, the only player that was in our division from last season that's left is Kelly Oubre. Because he joined the Pacers. He's gone to the Pacers, right? So, other than that, everybody, all these guys are all joining on Philly. I think there's something going on with the patriotism of stuff right now, because when Team USA won in hockey, they were going off. They took it personally, and then as soon as Toronto gets the bump to be the favorites of the East, all of a sudden now you guys, like, these super teams are forming in our division against us. Like, you know what I mean?
I first of all, once again, and I'll always say this until that big dummy's gone, Sixers are not to be worried about as long as Joel Embiid is on their team. I don't care how good they are. I don't care how many people they stack that team with. They will get screwed up because of big dummy every single time until he's gone from that team. So I don't worry about the Sixers. I see the Celtics and the Knicks getting weaker this offseason, and I'm smiling about it. I would say that. So I think that, honestly, the Atlantic Division is easier this coming season for the Raptors than it was last year.
Yeah, facts. But, I got to run because it's getting pretty busy over here.
So we got halftime. I hear the stuff moving around. You got skids to move. I hear people working behind you. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah, I got some pals to move around, some binder and some rubber and stuff. But.
All right, Seymour. Well, I appreciate you calling in from Calgary and giving us a cross-country call. And, always love to the City Slicker hanging out west, the man from the ends who's found his way to Stampede Country. And only love and blessings to our guy, Seymour Pate.
For sure, man. Salute. Growth day, man. Growth day.
Yeah. Impromptu call. If you got that number, you can call me if you want to talk about this stuff right here. That's right. Talking with Jamie about the comparisons of Kawhi hate to Vince hate. Yeah, there's similarities in that energy for sure. Similarities. For me, my basic rule is if you're wearing that Raptors jersey, even if it's Goran Dragic, to a degree, I have to root for you. Just to a degree. We saw somebody rocking a Raptors Goran Dragic jersey at the Team Canada game yesterday. Gerald saw it, and I was like, what are you talking about? There's somebody over there wearing a Dragic Raptors jersey. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with them? What is wrong with them? Randolph's here. Blessings, beloved Raptor freaks, fam. Do not be governed and controlled by hate and the spirit of unforgivenness. It will fill you with bitterness and destroy opportunities for success. This is true. This is true. David circled back yesterday and came into the chat, and I was so overjoyed to see David Saborin in the chat for just a second. I do like reconciliation. I do like fixing things, and that it feels good. And that's what we're talking about with Kawhi. We're fixing things. And I think that, this is a great words of wisdom to come after Jamie's quote here about Kawhi hate. Because, look, we could miss out on opportunities if we're just blindly hating Kawhi. And that opportunity could be another one of those up there. A championship ring and a trophy like that Larry O'Brien right there. That's right. Blessings to Phillips family. and all the Rap Freak families. Shaq Lindsay saying him leaving here at the time and coming back was a win-win. The timing is actually kind of weird. And that's like the way it kind of works in life. It's like life's timing and God's timing sometimes is a mystery to us. It moves in mysterious ways, but it sometimes it's for a right reason and a blessing in a way you wouldn't even realize. Let's think about it. If we had retained Kawhi and we gotten Russell Westbrook and Paul George, what would we have done in the years after that? Let's say the pandemic still happens and Tampa happens. Do we have guys on the squad that are solid for us, like Kyle Lowry, like Pascal Siakam, like a Fred VanVleet? If we traded some of those guys for these big names that I talked about what they did in Clipperland with him and how much of a waste of time it was, is a blessing in disguise. We said this in the past. We dodged a bullet when Kawhi did not make his decision to stay here that summer because it all worked out. We controlled what we could. He did what he did. We moved on and we did what we were supposed to do. And we got things right in this time period since then. And now Kawhi is very much on the record saying that this Raptors team is very good and we have a real chance. So it's timing. Sometimes God's timing isn't ideal in the moment. And we think it's all fucked up. But with time past, 2020 vision in hindsight, we can see actually maybe this was the right thing to happen in the right order to get to this point in time like this. Because Scotty Barnes doesn't happen if Kawhi Leonard stays. I think that's true. I think that you could extrapolate that for sure. I think that's true. That's right. Most saying this, if Kawhi gets more injured, I want my dunks and play less. I want my dunks. Just remember that. Yeah, you're going to celebrate our misery. You're going to celebrate bad things for the Raptors. And that is not like you. In some ways, I'm so disappointed in you right now, Monique. Don't take this stand. Why are you standing on the wrong side of the line? Is what I'm saying. You go ahead. I will. You really want these this credit if that happens, which God forbid that happens. God forbid what you're saying happens. I hope you are so fucking wrong, Monique. But if you are right, I will come around and say you're right, but it'll be a sad day. And in some ways, it won't be anything you should be celebrating, honestly. You're putting yourself in a bad situation, Mo, by being a Kawhi hater. Let's just put it that way. We have noted this, Seymour has noted this. I've noted this, and you will get that, okay? If you really want that, I wouldn't want that. It's just like I don't want to be right about Grady. I'd rather be wrong about Grady than right about Grady. So you should be wanting to be wrong on your take and where you're standing right now with Kawhi. You should be very much, I hope I'm absolutely wrong, is what you should be saying. Seriously, that's what you should be saying, Mo. In some ways, I'm ashamed of you in a way right now. I'm ashamed. You got to give him a chance. He's going to be wearing our jersey. And you're a Raptors fan. You should be rooting for the Raptors. Kawhi Leonard's a Raptor. That's just a cut and dry. That should be enough right there. And I'm telling you, he's going to come back. He's going to be healthy. He's going to win games for us. And you're going to all of a sudden, at some point in the season, going to love Kawhi again. And that's what's going to happen more likely than you being right about injuries. Is I'm going to be right saying, you know what? How you feel about Kawhi now, Monique? Yeah. How do you feel about it? We'll see how you feel about him around December. How about that? I'll check in with you around Christmas time, Monique Lawrence. And hopefully I'll be right. And I'll be like, yeah, I love Kawhi. I was wrong, Lex. You were right. That's what I want. If I'm telling you you're right, it's going to be sad and depressing. And we don't want that. We don't want that. We don't want that. That's right. Happy birthday to Masai Ujiri. That's right. 56 years old today. The great Masai, the architect. That's right. Seymour saying my dreads are just a bit longer than Kawhi's. Yeah, Kawhi looking like straight from the beach. Looking like he was maybe on a desert island with Wilson, the volleyball. You know, he's just looking like he's been, out there somewhere. Now, Kawhi's awesome. That really means a lot that he made the trip and he was here for Kyle's announcement. This is such a good sign. I'm telling you, because I wasn't sure when we were going to see Leonard the first time. Well, we saw him this morning, and this is a really good sign. Banana Bread Tan saying Kyle Lowry is such an underrated floor general and passer. His court vision and situational awareness is uncanny. Bill Belichick would have loved him on the Patriots. That's a funny thing to put in there. Yeah. Kyle's awesome, man. In some ways, like, he's not the most athletic or talented person, but he damn for sure is a hard worker. Let's just put it that way. He's dang for sure a hard worker. That's right. Neil's saying this: Jamaica still has to change the rules for how many expats can play for the team. Currently, it is one. So Norman is using that seat. Maybe they should allow 4 to 6 players. I think it's different if it's expats or whatever. It could very well be that Norman was the first one that was easy to do. And that window of competition when Norman showed up for them in those games, it could very well be that it is in the process of getting the Thompsons and Norman straight up Jamaican citizenship. And then they don't have to worry about expat stuff or anything like that. I think that's the rules, that if they just become that, because honestly, they can't have more than one. That's changing the rules. That's the rule, is that each national team of a country is allowed to have a non-citizen on their team. Just one. Just one. Now, Kyle Whitler is actually from America. He's from Oregon, which is kind of weird that he's on our team for Team Canada, but I guess he identifies as a Canadian more and being up here more, even though he was born in Portland, which is interesting. But yeah, Canada doesn't technically have a player that's in that position like Joel Embiid is for USA or Rondé Hollis Jefferson is for Jordan. And it could very well be the paperwork's got to go through. You get the Thompson twins officially Jamaican citizens, and then they can all be on the team together. I think that's how it works, Neil, actually. They can have the one guy, and you're talking about that seat for Norman, but I don't think they expand it to more than that, because then your teams start not becoming representative of your country, right? Just one dude. There's like an American guy who plays on the Japanese team with Yuta Watanabe. So, that there is this going on a lot of the teams. Canada doesn't want to do it. They said it straight up that they feel like it would hurt team camaraderie if we had some weird hired gun from a different country just on our team for some reason, right? Banana Bread Tan saying, I really hope either Shed develops into this kind of point guard or we draft one. Then again, we have Scotty. The oversight on IQ is just horrendous right here, guys. Stop overlooking Emmanuel. Don't fall for the New York hate towards the former Knick and trying to overshadow RJ and Emmanuel. There's been so much bullshit and perception shaping by people from New York about the former Knicks that Raptors fans are falling for the gaslighting. Emmanuel Quickley is our starting point guard. He's a true combo guard. He's extremely talented. He hits game winners. He's a fantastic player, and you are overlooking him, Banana Bread Tan. So let's have more respect for Emmanuel, is what I'm saying right here. That's right. Neil's saying this: Jamaica still has to. Oh, I already read that one. Jamie's selling. Let Wayne Dawkins know that. Wayne Dawkins know that? I don't know. Wayne Dawkins. Who's Wayne Dawkins? Let's see. Maybe I'm greedy. You're greedy? What do you want? What do you want? Let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying, ask yourself, who had a better past, Clippers or Toronto since 2019 championship? If Kawhi stayed, no Scotty, no draft pick, and then Paul George. Yeah. Yeah. For real. For real. I mean, I'm just telling you, like, I always say this as life advice: trust your life path. Even if it's not ideal and it's not exactly what you envision, just have the blind faith in God that you're walking the path that you're supposed to. And always tell yourself, don't have regrets. Don't have this should have happened this way. It happened. This would be my life. Don't do that. You can only have now in the present. And you do unnecessary bad things to your brain and yourself when you overanalyze and have regrets and get mad about things you can't change now. You've got to accept your past. You've got to go forward the future. And there's nothing we can do about the Kawhi decision at this point. But now we're in a different position all of a sudden. And it's very interesting. Let's just put it that way. That's very, very interesting. I think that everything had to happen exactly the way it does, even if Kawhi hurt us that summer when he went. In some ways, I was like, man, it is what it is. Good riddance. And in some ways, the times on the Clippers and the failure there, yeah, I was like, yeah, you made the wrong mistake. But now, okay, you're coming back. It's like Nab Bhatia said in his interview on TV last week when the Kawhi news broke. He likened it to like one of his children. He said, oh, my kid, he'll go out and play and make mistakes. And then he has to come back home to daddy, and daddy will take care of it. In some ways, he's saying that this is what Kawhi is. He had to go and make mistakes in his life And now he can come back to home and be with the right people back home with his parents and be in the people that'll take care of him and get him in the right place. Toronto Raptors organization. That's what Nab said on TV last week. And I think that analogy is very interesting. Is he basically saying Kawhi had to make mistakes and figure out that he made mistakes and then circle back? That's basically what he said right there. Jamie agrees with my talk on Jaylen Brown and what I'm saying. Yeah, Jaylen Brown is smarter than those Boston execs. It's really like it's a phenomenon that happens. And as a white male with privilege and an understanding of race, a background in social sciences and sociology, demography, and studying these kind of issues in a graduate level and university, you know, insecurity, white males about being replaced and stupid stuff, which a lot of replacement theory is garbage. It's used by racists as rhetoric to stir up racial tensions because they want to make white people feel like people are coming to replace them. That's bullshit. If you're good at your job and you do your job right, you should be fine. If you're coasting on your job and you're shitty at it and you're worried that somebody who's better at the job of color is going to come take it, well, you should be worried because you shouldn't be in that job. You know, it's this kind of thing. It echoes in Isaiah Thomas's period of time with the Raptors being an executive of our team. There were old establishment white executives in Canada. There were more hockey people, you know, people that are involved in companies like Molson and not Berry Farms and different people that didn't take Isaiah seriously. He was a young, hot-headed NBA player who just came directly from Detroit Pistons and playing career to a front office job with the Raptors, which is unprecedented, honestly, if we really talk about the history of this kind of movement in jobs in the NBA. We know how long it takes somebody just to get a head coaching job, you know, let alone get to be in charge of a whole franchise immediately after retirement. Well, Isaiah was very astute. Isaiah's a Hall of Famer. Isaiah knows the NBA. Isaiah knows the players. Isaiah knew players because he knew Damon Stoudemire, Marcus Camby, and Tracy McGrady, and Kevin Garnett. Well, these hockey guys didn't know jack shit, but they were threatened by this guy who came in and was the smartest basketball person in the world, in the room. And they couldn't handle that. They'd rather cut their nose to spite their face and fire Isaiah or get him out of there or not follow through on the promises of an ownership stake that John Petove Jr. gave him before he was shotgunned out of the team by Alan Slate. That, you know, that's part of the narrative that's been tried to be built by Rogers Sportsnet, Richard Petty, and the fuck faces that ran Isaiah off our team in the first place, because they couldn't handle a young black man, a successful black man, a smart black man who knew what he was doing in his job, because in some ways, hockey white culture of Canada wasn't ready for Isaiah Thomas in the 90s. And that is the truth. And in some ways, I can see parallels in Jaylen Brown's situation to the history in our franchise, the very early history with what happened to Isaiah Thomas. You know, they try to paint him as the problem, as being a jerk, as being overly this or that. Man, that's all the kind of bullshit that has been saddled on people in certain ways unfairly. And partly, if you're really looking at it, you can understand it through the lens of race. Seriously. And some people may not agree with me. Some people that were in the middle of it, and maybe Mr. Gray could elaborate on this a little bit more because he was in inner circles and maybe saw some of this. For me, this is where I think we're at this point, because I really feel like Richard Petty ran the Raptors into the ground by hiring Ralph Babcock and getting Vince Carter traded and screwing up our team by dismissing Isaiah and all this other shit. He made so many horrible mistakes that Richard Petty took the football that was Vince Carter, which is such an easy football to get going with the team, and he fumbled it. And then we went through the years of bad years and then into the Bosch years, and then finally to the We the North, Kyle and DeMar years. But yeah, the history of our team should be told correctly. And Isaiah Thomas is not a villain. He was one of the biggest assets we had for our team in the early years. He's absolutely was. And he was smarter than some of the people in the room. He's smarter in the room than some of the other people in basketball ways, and they felt threatened. That was part of it right there. UC's just saying, did y'all hear when Kyle said aspiration when talking with Kawhi? I know, that was crazy. That was crazy. It's always like, Kyle, why'd you do that? Adam Silver probably he shit his pants a second there probably when that happened. Yeah, he probably did shit his pants a little bit. Monique's giving me my cutoff. W stream, W vibes. Keep at it always, Lex. Rapid Freak Crew strong forever. Just helping me limit the comments. I appreciate you, Mo. Thank you for being a director of my channel and helping me with keeping me on track. Neil's saying, wait, Messiah is 56? That makes me young again. Woohoo. Blackhawk saying, what happened to Kyle's mom, Marie? I don't know. I've heard that maybe she had health issues or something. I don't know. Kaloy saying, hey, y'all, did you think that our culture stability as a team has finally paid off? Of course, the chip was that too, but Kawhi could have gotten 60 million per year from multiple teams, but he chose us. I think that part of it is what we talked about with Seymour on the phone just now, that Adam Silver didn't give him a whole lot of choices. But also, I think it is true that Kawhi understands to win championships, you need to be run correctly. And he knows that we're run correctly here. He can see it even from the dip with Tampa and the COVID and all this other bullshit that happened to us. We were a strong ship sailing through rough seas, and we kept our culture and we kept everything intact from our championship through the Tampa season and the shortened pandemic bubble season too. And that is no small feat. A lot of teams would take those hits and they'd be destroyed after it. In some ways, that may have been part of the design of forcing the Raptors to play in Tampa for a season, was the hope that they would be dead and buried and gone. But no, we were a walking dead, a zombie, breaching out of the ground and pulling ourselves out of the ground and walking, standing tall once again in the NBA standings and coming back up. Yeah. You know, in some ways, that's a weird kind of hit job. Is trying, yeah, you stay down there with the Wizards and those teams down there, Raptors. That's your place. You're not supposed to be up here with us. Well, no, we ain't doing that. And in some ways, Kawhi can see all that and say, yeah, this team's doing it right. And that's why I want to be back and part of it. That's it right there. Yeah. If anybody knows about what happened to Miss Holloway, please let me know. Seriously. Neil saying Kyle was always pushing for wins on the road back to back. He's the guy who was quality control for keeping score on teams that had been beating us. In fact, Kyle is a big reason why we had this undefeated streak against the Sixers for like years. There was a period of time where the Sixers did not beat the Raptors for like 5 years straight. And part of it was the personal connection of Kyle to Philadelphia and his hometown, and him saying, I don't want to let my hometown beat me. So him as a leader was the lightning rod, and the person in the middle of it was like the motivator. I want Scotty to do this more. I really do. Scotty, if you hear this somehow, some way, be more like Kyle Lowry with keeping score and saying, yeah, we owe the Celtics and the Knicks a lot because they've been going undefeated against us the last couple of seasons, and we need to fuck them up. Yeah, somebody needs to be keeping receipts and scores, and we need to be circling back and taking them, because Kyle Lowry used to be that guy on our team back in the day. There's no joke that we had a winning streak against the two hometowns of the heroes on our teams, the Lakers and the Sixers, for the years of DeMar and Lowry, because they really wanted to fucking beat their hometown teams. Yeah, it's sad to hear that the Lakers are not an option for DeMar DeRozan. The news is coming out that the Lakers are not interested in DeMar DeRozan. I don't know what the fuck is going on there. I would love that storybook ending. If you could put him on the Lakers, just give him a childhood dream. That would be awesome. But apparently the Lakers are not an option for DeMar DeRozan, who's been waived as of yesterday. Yeah, it's too bad. Yeah. G saying, Chow proclaimed today, July 7th, Kyle Lowry Day. That's a great mayor. That's my mayor, Olivia Chow. Thank you, Olivia, for doing that. She's always been a huge basketball fan. That's for sure. She always has. Shaq Lindsay saying Nate is better option at the 5 for us. Kawhi worked well with Lopez. Nate plays a similar style. Nate? Who are we talking about? Nate is a better option at the 5. Nate Biddle? Are you talking about Biddle? This is just out of the blue. Are you talking about Nathan Biddle? Is that who you're saying? I don't know. We'll just have to see how it works. First of all, we got to see the Summer League, guys, every step of the way. And we get to see these guys in action with our systems and Coach Simovich and Colin Murray-Boyles. And we'll see how it all fits. We got to get a look at Nate Biddle. We got to get a look at Aziz Bonagongo. We got to get a look at Jamari and Sharp. Before I'm making any declarations on them, let's see the game on Friday. We'll do a reaction on Saturday, and we'll have we'll have our takes then. We're preemptively doing stuff here, right? right? We don't know how good Nate Biddle is. We'll have to see, Shaq Lindsay. We'll have to see. Thank you to Mayor Chow. That's great, Neil. Kaloy saying this. Yeah, I have a good feeling with Biddle too, Shaq. One look at the mullet and I was sold. You're basing it on the man's hairstyle? Come on now. And yeah, he does play like Lopez. The thing that surprised me about my scout on Nate Biddle of Oregon is how physical he is on rebounding. He gets in there and mixes people up. He's very physical. And in some ways, that is kind of our style from the Cleveland series, is we want big bodies that are going to go in there and physically push people around and move people so that they can get to the rebound. The added thing about his three-pointer, and he actually has logo threes, which is kind of crazy. He has distance. I saw in his highlight reel, he's not just taking threes. This man is taking Marina Mabry threes. So there's some promise of Biddle, but once again, you guys don't get ahead of yourself. We have to see everything in action, not just in theory, is what I'm saying. Yeah. Let's see. Adversary is here. He's back in the chat again. Good to see you, Adversary. Good morning. What's up, King? Hope you're blessed. Yo, Canada looks really great. Based off of your observations, where do you see the club in the next decade? Talking about Team Canada, we're going to get a gold. We are going to get a gold. We are very adamant about this. Rowan Barrett has been working towards this since RJ was a little kid. He's had a vision, and this is not something that we just first started. The golden age of Canada basketball has been building over the years with the Nebhart brothers and the Alexander cousins and Dylan Brooks and all these young crop coming up. And SGA was invested in as early as middle school by RJ's dad, and really saying, this dude, we're anointing you. You're a big part of Team Canada. And in some ways, SGA in the NBA and being who he is not happening without Rowan Barrett opening doors and starting development for him through the Canada program. There was even a story that Rowan told the other day about how they didn't want SGA on one of the young teams for Canada and the underage teams. They said, who's this goofy, skinny, spindly kid? He's no good. Why is he on the team? And Rowan says, trust me. I put this guy on the team. He's a winner, and you're going to see. Because one of the first people that believed in SGA was RJ's dad. And he's invested in that whole crop since like 2010. This isn't new. He's been with these kids since they were little kids. And all along watching Andrew Nebhart, watching Jamal Murray, watching Luguetz Dort, watching Dylan Brooks. He's on top of everybody in Canada for the team, and he has a vision. And this has been a long time coming. This is a long build. And we're getting closer. And as I said, the thing that's going to put Canada over the top over the U.S. is we're the hybridization of the U.S. team with the European style. Is the U.S. team is going to find itself failing at some point because they have a turnover of their roster for Team USA every single time it's a different group. They've switched guys in and out. Sure, some of the same guys stick around like KD and Carmelo. But are those guys during all the windows in the middle? No, they have lesser teams like Orlando Robinson and them playing for USA this weekend in the Americas World Cup qualifiers. No, we are consistent. This is the whole idea. We take the style of the European clubs like Lithuania, who had Jonas Valanciunas involved from the age of 10 right up until his age now, close to retiring in the NBA and retiring in basketball in a couple of years. You know, they made an investment of time with the Lithuanian players, and they become a collective, and they know each other, and they're together all the time. They're not switching players in and out like the U.S. Well, Canada, they're the country in the world that has the second best talent in the world in the NBA as USA's number one. Well, we are the hybridization. We take the collective continuation of keeping the same dudes together and building that collective over time, but we have the higher talent than the European team overall. We're going to get the gold. And Gordon is one of the best FIBA coaches in the world right now. It's proven. He's one of the few people that's won a gold medal at the World Cup, and he won it with Germany. And I saw how he did it with Franz and Dennis Schroeder, and he is a real badass. And we are no joke. We are coming for USA, and we're going to beat them. We're going to beat them, and we're going to be the gold medalists in the Olympics in one of the next cycles. It may not be 2028. It could be, though. It could be, because these guys are serious. All these other America's teams playing this weekend in the FIBA qualifiers for World Cup, did they have a two-time MVP of the NBA show up on his time and show up and put his skills for their team, for their country? No, we are very powerful. And the hybridization that I just described is going to be the difference in why we're going to beat the U.S. Because the U.S. can show up with the most talented guys every time, but if they have no connection, if they're not bonded, if they're not having years of familiarity and gelling, they're not going to beat Canada when we've been doing that and we have the next best talent. That's the way we do it, adversary. Right there. The secret is out. And we are coming for it. Rowan is not fucking around. And neither is Marco Bartlett or Gordon Herbert. None of us are fucking around. Dylan's not fucking around, and neither is SGA. And the delineation between the guys who committed and are on the squad for the cycle to Los Angeles in 2028 is the guys who really are with it, and they are not fucking around. And everybody who played in that game that I went to last night that put on the Canada jersey are fully committed to this vision. And they're coming for it. We're coming for it. Be ready, U.S. We're coming to get that gold. And we are going to get a Canadian basketball gold in men's basketball. We are. We're coming. The signs are there. In the junior levels, we just beat USA for a gold medal in a junior. And that's how it works. It starts below and it starts building up. And all of a sudden, we're getting you at the highest level. We're getting you at the highest level. We're starting to get you at the lower levels, the underage groups. We're going to get you at the highest level next. That's right, USA. You're on notice. That's right. And send Trump to the game. We'll definitely win. Oh, yeah. If Trump is sitting there and it's a gold medal game at the Olympics and it's USA versus Canada, y'all are losing because that's the pattern right there. God hates Trump. And vicariously, God hates the United States because of him also. Yeah. Seymour's saying this. July 7th, Kyle Lowry Day is big. That's right. Shaq Lindsay saying signing Nate might attract some of those Maple Leaf fans. Why? Because the mullet? Just because the hairstyle? That's weird. We got Leaf fans in Raptors Nation already. We don't need that. Happy Lowry Day. I love it. Jamie Cabelli saying, it would be fitting for us to be the ones to down LeBron. It would be so fitting. And it would make all these Cleveland fans that have been throwing that word in our face, LeBronto, over and over again all these years. Yeah, you couldn't do that anymore. Yeah. I mean, LeBron did it to everybody. You might as well say LeBron Atlanta, LeBron Deanna, LeBron York. He's doing it to all everybody. LeBron Delphia. You know, he's doing it to all of us. LeBronto. Okay. They did it to all these. It wasn't just us. But Paul Jones's brother, Mark Jones, had to make that word up. Man, why'd you do that, Mark Jones? Turncoat on Canada, making up that word. That's right. That's messed up. That's messed up. Chloe saying everything he touches turns to shit. Yeah, the orange pedophile is awful. It's awful. They need to kick his ass out. This guy should have been kicked out a long time ago. Seriously, he's unconstitutionally running this country in a really bad way down in the United States right now. It's a mess, man. It's a mess. Jamie K saying, I was so happy to see USA soccer lose. Man, too. Me too. I got home last night after the game and I saw that and I'm like, oh, wow. This is crazy. No script writing for USA just because they're hosting. Yeah, that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. Canada lost too, but hey, we went above and beyond. We went above and beyond. We got further in the World Cup competition than ever this year with our Canadian senior men's soccer team. So we should be very proud of the Canadian soccer team for getting this far. But yeah, USA, you guys are Ricky Bobby. Number one, or you're a loser. Yeah, y'all are losers. You lost to Belgium. How big is Belgium? Are they famous for waffles? That's right. I don't know. Y'all lost to waffles country. That's how it is. Adversary saying, what do you or anyone in the chat think about Peyton Watson? Should we take a look at him over D squared? Peyton Watson, I'm not even sure who that is. All right, he was on the Jazz or something, right? Wasn't that where he was? He's been in the NBA already, right? Let me see who that is. Let me see. In some ways, I'm not really sure. All right, Peyton Watson was born on September 11th, a year after September 11th in 2002. He was on the Nuggets. That's right. That's where I remember him from. He's born in Beverly Hills, 6'8", 200 pound. And he was on Grand Rapids Gold last year also. He's been on their team for a while. He's got a championship with them. He was on the championship team. I don't know. I don't think he's a needle pusher. I think that right now with the Raptors roster and the couple of spots we have left, I really want to see a power forward center or a center. The one of the people that we're not talking about enough that would kind of make sense that could circle back and be on our team is Olynyk. I don't know what Olynyk's status is with San Antonio, and I know he did say he'd like to retire a Raptor. He could be helpful. We kind of rocked that Jakob Kelly combo before, switching them in and out. He's familiar with Scott. He's familiar with the team. In some ways, he's dependable in the way of as a wily vet. He's Canadian content. And honestly, it'd be kind of interesting to see Kelly boomerang back to this team and possibly be like at the end of the bench as a backup, a veteran wise backup, a loyal guy, a guy who can get 6 fouls if we need somebody to just do dirty shit. And he could be solid. He could maybe come in, although his price is pretty high too. Like DeMars, he'd have to take a minimum and have to be ring chasing with Kawhi and Scotty. But that's somebody that not anybody's talking about enough is Olynyk. Olynyk circling back. And a lot of people say, why? Don't do that. That's a waste of time. I mean, Kem Birch. Could we circle back and bring Kem Birch? I mean, let's talk about that at the game last night. Kem is healthy. He's he's Canadian. I'm trying to be inventive about this, but I really do feel like it's got to be a 4 or 5 that we're fleshing out our roster with these last couple spots. We need 2 more bigs, honestly. If we get 2 more bigs to the team, Bobby Cook, and get 2 more bigs, and I'll just trust your judgment, whether it's somebody we figure out through summer league and training camp, like a Sharp or a Biddle, or it's somebody we revisit from the past, like a Birch or a Olynyk. Or maybe it's somebody from out of the blue, like Charles Bediako of the Scarborough Shooting Stars, or Frank Mitchell of the Scarborough Shooting Stars on the Raptors this year. Those would be smart ideas or interesting ideas too. But yeah, we need to fill out the last 2 spots. I'm guessing one of the spots is the carrot, the dangle in front of the horse to get anybody in the summer league. Yeah, you can have this spot. It's open. You guys compete for this. In some ways, that's why you keep spots open for summer league and training camp for competition and giving you guys to aim for something. So I think that's part of it right there. Yeah, I'm not big on Peyton Watson coming here. Kaloy saying, I need Biddle to ball out in summer league, impress Bobby and Dan. Yeah, we'll have to see. Jay McKay is saying Obama was there on our 2019 run. He was at Scotiabank. Yeah, he was sitting in the front row. He didn't have to sit with protection behind bulletproof glass. He could sit in the middle among the fans right next to the court. Yeah, he did that at All-Star Weekend too this past year. Yeah. It's special that Obama was at our 2019 championship run, even though he wasn't president. He was there as a friend of Masai Ujiri's. Happy birthday, Masai. That's right. Happy birthday, Masai. All right, let's keep going. Adversary saying, so Kyle and Kyle and his wife joined the group of Toronto Tempo ownership. That's awesome. They were already owners on the down low. When they first started the team, they got in on the ground floor, and he's been an owner from the start. It's just that they're making it more public and putting it in everybody's faces. But yeah, that's quite a group. Larry Tannenbaum, Masai Ujiri, Serena Williams, Kyle Lowry. And I do believe Aubrey's owner of the team also to a degree. Drake has a little bit of ownership of the Tempo also, I believe. Neil's saying this, Sharp is fine for Summer League and G League because the players he's playing against aren't knocking him all over the place. NBA is full of bigger bodies. Yeah, I'm going to agree with this. And we'll have to see. Once again, let's just see how things are going. You guys are really excited about Summer League. I am too, for sure. KT's here. Good morning, Kareem Thomas, Raptor Freak dunk legend. Now that it's official, I kind of want Carter's jersey down and Lowry's up. There's something more special when a player wins a chip and retires as a Raptor. It just hits different. Carter will never have that aura. Yeah, we're not going to do that. In some ways, it's not really a big deal. Vince Carter gets the first one. In some ways, he gets that right, I guess. In some ways, I didn't agree with that. But it's right, what Kareem's saying, that it hits harder because this is the champion. And I think it hits harder that Bobby said it right from the start today at the press conference. We will be retiring Kyle's jersey this season. There was a delay on Vince's jersey getting retired for us. In fact, we put it off years. We could have done it right away after he retired, but we didn't because in some ways we didn't want to. Well, with Kyle, we want to do it right away. And in some ways, that's special in itself that the GOAT will not have to wait for his jersey to get up there in the Raptors, number 7. Nobody got to wear that 7. Sorry, Goran. You don't wear 7 in Toronto. But Kyle wears 7 in Miami. Yeah, difference is a chip. You didn't have one. So yeah, it's like that, Goran. Sorry. Yeah, you don't get 7 in Toronto. You got to wear a different number. Yeah, is that insulting? Who gives a shit? Fuck off. That's what I say to Goran Dragic. But yeah, this is going to be special and it's post haste. We're not waiting around. We're going to do this right away. It's awesome. Monique is saying congratulations to Noah Lewis on being the 905's new head coach. It's not Evo. Yeah, we talked about this yesterday when it broke news. Covered that Noah Lewis is going to be the new 905 coach. I was a little surprised by this because in some ways he's not a full assistant coach. He's a practice coach and a video coach, but they see some promise in him. They want to give him the reins, and he's going to run things down there. Andrew Jones will return to the Raptors bench as an assistant coach with Darko on the Raptors, and none of the other team coaches are going to go down. So it's Noah Lewis. And we got new blood at the front office also, as Luke Wynn is going to go work with Bobby and Dan in the Raptors front office. And now Scott Brown Jr. is going to be the new GM of the 905. The assistant GM of the 905 the last couple of years is getting promoted. So, some of this is just new blood coming in to get a chance to learn the jobs. Noah Lewis is going to get head coaching experience this year, and Scott Brown Jr. is going to get GM head experience instead of just being the assistant. You have learned enough from Luke Wynn. Well, now you get to run the 905 this year. And I'll be watching both y'all and under a microscope. And I'll be talking about it on this channel every day. Yeah, so do good jobs, Scott Brown Jr. Get the right people for Noah to be successful. And Noah Lewis, I know you're going to be great. I'll bet you'll be somewhere in between Drew Jones and Eric Curry. It's going to be really tough to be better than Drew Jones. Trust me. But I know you'll be better than Eric Curry. We know that at least, right, Mo? We know that at least, right? G saying this. The Raptors IG is posting that Kyle Museum in the OVO Center they made for him. They do this, these really awesome displays and things, special things. They did it for Vince during his jersey retirement. And it's just really special. It's like mementos. It's iconic pictures. It's all kinds of stuff. I'll be having to check that out afterwards. That's really cool. Of course, they're going to do that for the GROAT. They got to get everything out there top notch for him. Yeah. Yeah. Neil's saying this. The Sixers are not a super team. They took advantage of an opportunity to unload Paul George. Be careful with that one. I always want to say point guard for a younger, better player. Joel, I love how you spelled it, is still a negative because he has not played healthy since we smacked them in 2019. Teams don't normally work in the first year with new starters. Raptors 2019 is the anomaly, exception. Yeah, there's a lot of things about the 2019 championship team. No draft picks that were high. There's a lot of anomalies there for sure. A one and done with the finals MVP. It's kind of crazy. I'm going to agree with Neil on this one too, that a lot of people are trying to build up the Sixers, and it's the NBA and the media machine, to be a super team because Jaylen Brown is there. But I would argue this team is not any different in some ways than the idea of Paul George being there in that spot too, because Paul George is supposed to be a preeminent top star in this league too. Now, you'll probably get way more usage and helpfulness from Jaylen Brown because he's way more healthy player than Paul George. And honestly, he's not washed like George is. But Jaylen Brown, it'll be interesting. Once again, we'll have to see. Oubre leaving is on the down low a problem for them. I have to see the finer details of each roster. Even though they got the big signing the big move is Jaylen Brown in the trade for Paul George. I'm not going to say this because people want to use the word super team so willy-nilly in such weird ways. And in some ways, some of the stars that they consider a part of a super team, I'm like, bro, that guy's washed. I mean, they were saying the Clippers have been a super team for a couple years recently. Were they a super team? No. Did they do what they were supposed to do? No. Because they were hurt. And those super teams, we can think about a super team like the Lakers with Karl Malone, Steve Nash, and Gary Payton or some shit like that. That's a super team? Okay, no, that's a bunch of old Hall of Famers that are near the end of their career, is what I see. We'll see with the Sixers. I should respect them more, but I don't want to. That's right. Let's see. Neil saying, Mo, Kawhi will be injured at times, but it'll be opportunity for Colin as well. No, we don't want him injured. We want him load managed. He can have a little nagging thing, but we don't want him injured. No. Don't speak that anywhere near existence. No. Banana Bread Tan saying IQ is good, But is he a floor general with high situational awareness like Kyle Lowry? Well, you're not giving him a chance. He does have very high situational awareness. Part of it is that much like Lowry and Van Vliet before, they are combo guards, true combo guards. And, he has to understand when to call his number 5 and when to go press the piano keys of the rest of his team around him. And the thing with Emmanuel is his early years in New York really was off the bench scorer, instant scorer, like Vinny the Microwave Johnson for the Bad Boys Pistons a long time ago. And he's had to pivot more since he's been a Raptor to be more traditional point guard. And he did a lot of that work last year. In fact, that was a big part of the evolution of Emmanuel. Was last year he really started to show signs of playing true point guard and not just being like a lot of people just saddle him. Well, he's a shooting guard. He's not a point guard. No, he can play both. And that's the thing. He's like a car. You can switch the gears. You can switch the gears. You want it to be full combo guard in the middle. You want it in the middle, combo guard. You want it to be shooting guard, put it there. And it's really good because he's a good shooting guard with great passers on the team with Scotty and other people. And then you can put him all the way into a regular point guard too if you want him to be in a point guard. So that's the thing with Emmanuel is you got to give him more credit. I think part of it is also that Emmanuel's tenure on the Raptors, unfortunately, has had a lot of injury, and we haven't seen enough good long stretches where you really believe in him and trust him. I sang a song about him last Christmas about believing in Emmanuel and trusting in Emmanuel. And then like a couple weeks later, he hit a game winner in Charlotte, and everybody saw that. That's the thing you got to look at. Did Brandon Ingram and Emmanuel Quickley hit game winners for the Raptors last year? Yes. Did RJ Barrett hit game winner for the team last year? Yes. And those are winners, guys that can hit high pressure shots that win you the game. Game 6 against Cleveland, Charlotte game for Emmanuel, and then Brandon Ingram's game winners that he had too during the season. That's why we want players like this around. Because when the shit hits the fan and it's a crazy situation at the end, Emmanuel will hit that shot to win the game for us. I believe in him. And maybe that's a little bit like Lowry right there, right? Maybe that, not everybody's going to be exactly Lowry. And maybe Shed has a little bit more Lowry traits with toughness. But I could make an argument that Emmanuel's just like Lowry in ways of like clutch shooting and being able to make points to help us win really fast. Because that's one thing that people are sleeping on quickly is that he can quickly get us points fast in a barrage of shots because he's very hot. So, man, you got to respect all these guys, whether it's Pirtle, whether it's Barrett, whether it's Quickly, whether it's Scotty, I don't care, whether it's Leonard. I want y'all to respect your team is what I'm saying. And these are the guys we got, UC saying, Banana Bread hasn't watched Quickly play, even though he's been with us seasons, I guess. Yeah. I mean, we don't know. You see, and don't directly attack anybody. We had a big topic about this. In some ways, I'd rather you not use the names and say something like this that's may possibly be insulting because we don't want any infighting. I don't get the mass having a doubt over IQ and RJ at this point. Just mind-boggling. Yeah, I don't get it either. Once again, I really do blame that the NBA's media market centers from New York, and New York fans that have personal connections to these former Knicks players are tainting the perspectives and the narrative. And that's why I tell Raptors fans, stop listening to any of the U.S. broadcasters or journalists. I don't give a shit if you think Jake Fisher is the most accurate person. He is not our friend. He's an enemy. And he's more likely to put out shit that's detrimental to our team than he is to help us. And in some ways, that's why I say don't fucking listen to every trade rumor Jake Fisher says. Because, it's toxic for him to say shit like we tried to move Jakob halfway through the season last year and we weren't successful. If it didn't happen, it didn't happen. And in some ways, Raptors fans did need to know that, Jake Fisher, you piece of shit. Here's your 2-finger salute from the Raptors freak. And I'm smart enough to know that we shouldn't trust Jake Fisher, even though a lot of Raptors Nation thinks that he's the godsend of information for us. No, he's not. The beat reporters that are on the ground next to the team at OVO Center this morning, and the ones that show up every day in Toronto that have Canadian passports are the best people to give you information on the Canadian team. Those U.S. people you should not trust. You should not trust them in the least. They'll put out bullshit like Shams does just to help their family member in the front office in Atlanta. Jake Fisher is a Nets fan. Deep down low. His origins are from that area, and he's a Nets fan. That's the truth. Do you think Jake Fisher has anything good for the Raptors in his heart? No, he doesn't. Fuck Brooklyn. So I just don't get it. And I feel like this is part of the problem. So much of the media for the NBA comes from New York. These two guys have a history there. And God forbid the Raptors actually equalize the OG trade and we actually win a championship with Emmanuel and RJ here still, because then it won't look as good for them in winning the trade with OG, because they want to win that. They want to champion this whole idea that we won the OG trade. We won the OG trade. And if Emmanuel and RJ have success in Toronto, well, that's not going to help their case, right? So stop listening to these people that hate RJ and Emmanuel, because they're not our friends. They don't want good things for us. And honestly, I think they're closeted and New York fans acting like Raptors fans. And so many Raptors fans are being duped by this shit. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Be respectful to our players. I'm telling you right now. It's like DZ saying, glad to see Canada finally getting it right with developing and identifying players. My generation had none of that. Imagine how far we would have been as a nation if this was a thing from the 80s to 90s. I wish I had a mentor like Rowan. See, and Slug Deezy had a chance. He played. Slug Jeezy was a great young basketball player in the Canadian system, but there was nobody looking out like RJ's dad. And he's seeing this, and he's like, man, what Lex just described about the care and the fostering of young talent in Canada to get to this point, to see the budding of these superstars. And it's huge. I mean, SGA, look at the level he's gotten to with this kind of stuff. And in some ways, Slug Deezy's jealous because he wished he could have had that at his age bracket when he was younger too. Yeah, I get that, man. I get that. It seems like we've been going in and out with the connection. Chloe saying, I hope Darko hires Drew on his coaching staff. He did. He's never been unhired. You guys got to stop being nephews on this. The Raptors 905 coach is an assistant coach of the Raptors. It's just he has to run the team. So in some ways, we could say Noah Lewis is getting a promotion to a full assistant because he wasn't a full assistant last year. Drew Jones and Eric Curry, what happens? They go to the Raptors bench and sit behind Darko after coaching 905. Eric Curry did that, and Drew Jones will do exactly the same. Unless Drew Jones did so well that somebody wants to give him a big position, like maybe head coach of a college team or something like that. And then he's gone that way. But no, the plan is that Drew Jones is behind the bench, and he doesn't have to hire him because he's already working for him. He's been working for him the last 3 years. It's just that he had the 905 assignment. We got to remember this, guys. They're not separate jobs. The job on the 905 is an assistant coach for the Raptors also. It's just that they're the head coach of the 905. It's all in the same fold. CBL action tonight, guys. Vancouver is at Saskatoon at Marilys Belcher Place. I think that's a different arena. They may be in a different town. 9:30 Eastern tip-off. You can watch the game on YouTube for free. CBL Plus or CBC Gem. Vancouver Bandits with their new coach. Coach Julius has left. He's taken a job in a Chinese basketball league. He will continue the season as the GM of the Bandits for the rest of the year, but he's officially not their head coach anymore. And it's the last game he coached was that incident with the fan where that incident has tarnished him. And apparently he's mad at the league for not standing up for him. And he's like, fuck y'all, I'm out. And he's gone. So yeah, Bandits have a new coach for the rest of the season. It's the interim coach. And Kyle Julius will still do front office GM stuff apparently for the rest of the year, but then he's done and he's going to coach in China. So yeah, Vancouver versus Saskatoon tonight, 9:30 Eastern, Canadian Elite Basketball League action. Don't miss it. It's really good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Let's see if there's any more breaking news while I've been on the air here. Let's see. Okay, no politics. Michael Grange is saying Kawhi is back. Kyle Lowry retires as a Raptor. You weren't allowed there. He's saying, could a DeMar DeRozan reunion be next? Per multiple sources I've spoken with now, it seems unlikely, but both because of the Raptors' very tight cap situation and the market for a free agent DeRozan around the league. So there you go. There you go, guys. And also, Grange has posted the Lowry celebration is slated for September 18th and 19th. A golf tournament, a block party, and a fundraising gala. The jersey retirement date will be confirmed when the NBA schedule is finalized. So there's a bunch of stuff they're going to do. They're going to do a golf tournament, a KLOW Invitational on Friday, September the 18th. That would be awesome to go if you're a fan and you could get in there. They're going to have a block party. It's going to be on September the 19th, the next day. with a daytime party dedicated to the fans and the people who were there every step of the journey. I'm going to guess that's at Maple Leaf Square, guys. I'm going to guess that's where it's going to be. And then a night for 7. They're going to have a big black tie event that night with a party with MLSC Foundation, all these different stuff. And there'll be a lot of stuff is going towards charity from that kind of thing. All right. Yeah. Cool stuff there. Very, very cool about all that. Yeah. Amazing stuff coming out about Kyle Lowry Day today. All right. Let's see. Guys, I'm going to do my little check-in with human design. We have shifted from gate 39, the gate of the provocateur, to the gate of beginnings. We're in gate 53 now. And gate 53 is down in the root of our bodies. And myself, in my human design, I have this gate active and this channel active all the time. But in this week coming up, the next 6 days, this will be the theme of what's going on. It's beginnings. This is the gate of beginnings. And basically, it's about like new beginnings and how there's a new energy that comes into us that motivates us to try new things. So this is the theme that maybe you could think about in your life right now is a new beginning. And the line for today specifically is accumulation. And the detriment is development hampered by criticism and the tendency to withdraw rather than make use of these experiences. The difficulty in starting something new because of criticism that accompanied the old. So I think the message here is try something new right now. Even if you failed before or people told you shouldn't do that, this is the time right now to acquaint yourself with something you want to do before that you didn't do successfully, and you can do it right this time. As the exhalation of it is the dissolution of old forms, but not at the expense of valued components that will be retained and transformed. The pressure to begin something new, not from scratch, but based on the foundation of the old. I think this is a common theme globally right now, that systems in our society are failing us. And that in some ways, we need to take some of the framework from before and the world we're going to build in the future coming up that we like and works, but trash a whole bunch of other stuff and start anew around the framework of what works. So there's your human design check-in for today. It is gate 53, line 1 today. And if you have that channel, that 5342 channel, it's about maturation. It's about the ability to lead as an executive. It's about having the ability to be a good influence and leader for people so that they can have better things in their life. So we're all about new beginnings today. That's your check-in with human design. Thank you for letting me indulge in that little lesson right there. In some ways, I'm still very much a student of this whole thing called human design. And once again, I'll tell you, if you want to know more about it yourself, you can go online and get a free human design chart from your birth date and your place of birth. And you can see your chart and hopefully interpret it in some ways to help yourself live a happier life because you understand your strengths and weaknesses and some of the things about your personality more better so that you can understand yourself. And maybe in sometimes when you know something that's negative about your personality, you can let go of it and not beat yourself up about it because you know that it's just naturally who you are. It's in the design of who you are. It's true. All right. Happy birthday once again to Julie Alamont. She's 30 today, guys. Our Belgian point guard for the Tempo is 30 years old today. I love this. We haven't done a lot of Tempo birthdays yet in our birthdays, but definitely doing Julie today. 30 years old, Julie. And this is the Redditor of the day for Tempo, is a happy birthday to Julie with a nice picture of her with the peace sign. Yeah, this is awesome. This is a celebration. Thank you to Tigor. You are the Toronto Tempo Redditor of the day for announcing Julie's birthday on Reddit this morning. Also, as I said, it is Masai Ujiri's birthday today, 56 years old, the president of the Dallas Mavericks and formerly of the Toronto Raptors. We love you, Masai. Always will. I wish you luck with your team, but not too much luck. If we play you in the playoffs, we got to beat your ass, is what I'm saying right now. All right, let me see. What else is there in my chat? We got to do this, the classic card. Check on your fantasy teams. Make sure you're putting your team's lineups in right. So you have the best chance to try and win in the fantasy league. All right, let's get the classic card. Let's get the classic card. I see that my chat is going in and out and acting goofy. It seems like the internet's a little goofy right now. Let's see. Yeah, you see, it's all right. I just don't want you to call anybody out specifically. You can have opinions and say it, and that's it. It's like these say now I have to work a 9 to 5. Thanks, Canada. All right, here we go. Oh, wow. This is a classic. All right, let's see who knows this legend of the NBA right here. This is pretty easy. Let's see how quick somebody gets it. Is anybody here to see it? That's what I'm wondering too. Connection's been in and out. Hopefully it's fine and somebody can write this in. Slug DZ, I know you got to go to work, but hopefully you're still here for just the last second of the 3-hour Kyle Lowry Day Lexathon we're just about to complete. There we go. KLOW is the one who's going to come in and get Big Chief Robert Parrish, 00 of the Celtics, a Celtic that I very much respect and admire and like. I've always liked Robert Parrish. I got to see him play in person as a kid. I went to the arena and saw him play. And yeah, I've always liked Chief. This is before he went to Chicago and all the other teams he went to after Boston. Yeah, Robert Parrish is the card of the day. It's too easy, KLOW. It's a 50-point card. He's too iconic and the 00 and everything. So, but it is KLOW's card for today. And I love seeing another person get the classic card, Carlo JS today. That's right. 50 points for KLOW added to his Raptor Freak trivia score. Then, well, you get enough points, you get your nameplate on the trophy like Fiercey today. That's right. Yeah, one of the few Celtics players you fully respect. Yeah, I actually liked the Celtics in the 80s. I liked both the Celtics and the Lakers. I wasn't really like Lakers versus Celtics. I was like, I like both of you guys. I like Magic and Bird. I like Worthy. I like Kevin McHale, even though Kevin McHale was kind of dirty. Robert Parrish, Byron Scott, I like those teams, and I like the matchup Lakers versus Celtics. And back then, I could get behind those teams. It was before the Raptors existed. It's before the Raptors came in, and I had them play against those teams, and then I started to hate those teams because the Raptors would play against them. So it changed. There's something different about the NBA before the Raptors for me. I could like a lot of different players over a lot of different teams, but now I have enemies because the Raptors made me care even more. I think that's what it is right there. Yeah. Yeah. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me today. What a fantastic, amazing day in the history of the Raptors. 7/7/2026 is always going to be Kyle Lowry Day in Toronto. It's been declared by the mayor. And he's got Kyle Lowry way over by Don Mills and Eglinton over there. Kyle, you're just class act. You're going to get the best celebration from the Raptors. You know you are. Vince got a great one, so you're definitely going to get one. And I really appreciate Leonard being there today. That's a really good sign that Kawhi was sitting front row for Kyle's press conference this morning. Awesome stuff. And then Team Canada taking care of business against Jamaica last night, 38-point win. SGA and them finishing up the World Cup qualifiers this weekend. And, well, they're going to have games in August still. I believe they'll be in Montreal for the next 2 games. So Team Canada will be able to be seen in Canada on home soil, I believe in Montreal, though, in August. So don't sleep on the chance, Montrealers, to see one of the greatest Canadian basketball team ever assembled, the current senior men's team for Team Canada. Yeah, and I'm so proud of them. It was so fun to see SGA in real life and watch him up close in the arena. It was fantastic. And I appreciate Nako and Adriana for going to the game with me and watching the fantastic Team Canada versus Jamaica game last night. All right, y'all, I'm out. Tomorrow, we'll be previewing the Valkyries versus the Tempo. We got another one of our home games in a row. Coca-Cola Coliseum, Golden State Valkyries. It'll be the first time we play the Golden State team in the WNBA. I'll have the latest lineup news, the ref report, and all the keys to victory kind of stuff that we do for preview games. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. We'll be having the Tempo hat on tomorrow and covering the Toronto Tempo in their preview for Valkyries. All right. Thank you, guys. I love you, Kyle. Thank you, Masai. Happy birthday, Masai. Happy birthday, Julie. Thank you, Kawhi, for showing up. Thank you, Larry Tannenbaum. We all love you, Larry Tannenbaum. That's for sure. And F you, Michael Grange. Yeah, you weren't even allowed in the room when Kyle Lowry did his press conference this morning with Bobby Webster. And rightfully so. That was your punishment for breaking the news ahead of when Kyle wanted to hear it. So, yeah, Grange, you didn't get a question, and you didn't get to be there because he hates your ass. That's right. Have a good day, says Cool Cat. July 7th, Kyle Lowry Day. That's right. We'll always remember Kyle Lowry Day. I got it on my calendar. I wrote it up on there, KLOW Day. All right, let's go Raptors. And let's go, Kawhi. Let's go get that second Larry O'Brien with Scotty Barnes and call him Murray-Boyles and RJ Barrett. That's what I want to see this year. That's right. We're going for it. Be like MJ. Let's be perfect, Leonard. You can do this. You got the right team around you now. You're the right player. We're going to make this happen this year. Let's go, Claw. Let's go, Kyle. Yeah, Kyle Lowry Day. What a day. Oh, what a day.